Okay. All right. What's gonna happen? Welcome to the Set Breaker Podcast, and today we have two guests. We got my buddy Steven. How do you say your last name again? Yuen?
Ing.
Oh shit, that's not even your last name. I made up your last name. Okay. Anyways, Steven Ing and Jabaric. Now, Jabaric, you're a former police officer,
Correct.
bounty hunter,
Currently a bounty hunter.
currently a bounty hunter and a magician.
That's it.
Okay, am I missing?
Strange combination.
Yeah. Oh, and also you also grew up in the hood, so you have multiple perspectives, different angles of life, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, all right, where do we begin? We got a lot to talk about. So,
And ex-military.
And ex-military.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you said,
Yeah.
what is it?
Yeah.
Army, Marines?
I was a corpsman in the Navy.
A corpsman in Navy. Oh, hell yeah, Navy. Oh, that's a good one. I get seasick, so I can't do that. But
I was stationed with the Marines, so I was never on the boat.
oh, no. Okay. So that works. Do you get seasick?
Yeah.
Then it all works out in the end. All right. So, let's jump right to it. There's obviously a lot going on right now with the current social climate, police officers, Black Lives Matters, and just a lot of things, a lot of tension, right? And I just wanted to get your perspective on things as somebody who is literally on both ends of it, in the sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you feel about everything going on right now?
That's actually, I don't know. That's I guess you could say like a twofold question. On one end, I can sympathize and understand, with things going on, people losing lives. But on the other perspective, on the other end of it, it's that I think everyone is, not everyone, most people are blaming police officers for things that's what they do as police officers. Like as a police officer, that's what you do. Now, mind you, some of the things that are going on, some of the situations that I've heard about, I don't agree with them. And the police officers, they were wrong. But then some of them, it's like, what are you condemning this officer for? Because he's actually doing his job. So that's kind of, it's like a twofold question.
Now, you live in Atlanta, right?
Yes.
So some of the more recent events have happened in your area.
Right. With the gentleman at the Wendy's, when they shot him.
Rashard, right?
Supposedly, shot him in the back. The way I see that is the officer, he should be cleared. That officer, he should be cleared of any wrongdoing. Giving the what happened and giving the video evidence of what happened. But unfortunately, I don't think that he is going to be cleared just because of the tone of the world right now. So I don't think he's going to be cleared. And I think that's a very unfortunate type of situation for him.
Now, I mean, some of the response to that probably is well, he wrestled on the ground, but he started running away. And he got shot in the back, right? So, having not been in a police officer's shoes, I mean, I guess walk us through what you served 6 years in Atlanta PD, right?
Right. APD, 6 years, Atlanta Police Department. So 6 years of policing in Atlanta. I started out pretty much in zone 2. Zone 1. Zone 1 will be considered like Bankhead, like the Bankhead area. It's a pretty rough neighborhood. The area is pretty rough, and it's always been like that. It's a lot of drug dealing, a lot of crime. It's pretty rough here. And that's Bankhead. And I did 3 years there, and then from then I went to Zone 2, which is Buckhead. Now that's totally different. That's pretty much where you would see all your celebrities, a lot of high-end stores, and I did 3 years there. So I've served with two different, I guess you could say, classes of people. So, and in the area where this actually happened, this was zone 3. Is it hood? Not really. You got some, urban areas, but I wouldn't say the whole thing is drugs and guns and violence all over the place. I wouldn't say that. But there are pockets. There are pockets of this. So in this situation, the officers actually responded to a 911 call. It really doesn't matter who called. Some people say the Wendy's worker called. Somebody was in the drive-through sleep. Some other people say that a bystander called. Some say that some other people in the drive-through called. Really doesn't matter who called at the end of the day. The fact that someone was sleeping in the drive-through, that's a problem. So when the officers arrived, everything, of course, was very cordial. They had the officer they had the gentleman to move to the side, just so he's not impeding the drive-through. This is a business. Now, there's been some question that says, oh, well, if he was drunk and you're arresting him for DUI, why you let him drive the car? Easy, because they didn't know that he was drunk. They didn't know at that point that he was DUI. Just because you have a beer, just because you have 2 beers, and you can probably smell an alcoholic beverage, malt beverage coming off your breath, doesn't mean you're necessarily drunk. So, hey, let's move over here so we can conduct business over here. So we can get out of the way, so the drive-through can flow, everything is fine. So now, that's that. A lot of, well, if he was drunk, you shouldn't let him move the car. Well, we didn't know he was drunk, all right? So they moved him off to the side. The first officer, he is not a DUI certified officer. When I say DUI certified, I mean exactly that. He's not certified in DUI certificate that you get. There's a course that you have to take. Now, every officer can do a field sobriety test. Every officer, because that is taught in the academy. It's simple, hey, follow the count it up, do the walk on the line. Every officer does that. But the more detailed investigation to a DUI, the questions, the line of questioning, that is held for an actual certified officer. So, and I've been in situations like that. There are DUI officers. I've been in multiple situations like that. Me personally, I can't stand DUIs. Why? Because they take up too much time. They'll throw up in the back of your car. I can't stand DUIs. I don't even like the smell of alcohol coming off of people. Like, I just hate that smell. It makes me sick. So what he did, he really probably didn't feel like dealing with it. He knew that the guy was drunk. He really didn't feel like dealing with it. So he said, hey, guess what? I'm going to call a DUI officer. I've done that numerous times. So now the DUI officer shows up. This is what people don't understand. The first officer now is now secondary. So now the DUI officer is primary. So now the first officer that was there, everything now, he's in a supportive role now of the DUI officer. If he needs this, if he needs him to go to the car and get something, he's in a supportive role now. So now the DUI officer shows up, he goes through his whole test or whatever. He deems the guy unfit to drive, unsafe to drive or whatever. Like I said, me looking at this video, everything was very cordial. And this is exactly how it's supposed to be. So bottom line, he's drunk. It's DUI, he's drunk. So the DUI officer went to take him into custody. Now, here's the thing. I've heard people say this as well. You don't have to physically announce to somebody you're under arrest. Because sometimes you don't have the time. You don't have the time. You're under arrest. For him to say, and I'm not quoting him on this because I know it was something along these lines. He feels like that he's had too much to drink and he's unsafe to drive. And he goes to put his hands behind his back. I mean, at that point, it can be implied that you're under arrest. So you feel like I've had too much to drink and I'm unsafe to drive and you're detaining me? Like, that doesn't make sense. If I've had too much to drink and you feel like I'm unsafe to drive, I'm probably under arrest right now. Like, that's a logical person would think that. I'm not going to detain you because all my investigation is over. You detain to get more information. All of my information is over. I'm not detaining you anymore. You're under arrest now. So that was a question that I heard pop up. So just as they went to do that, that's when the struggle. That's when he assaulted 2 police officers. Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about that. Yes, it is unfortunate that someone died. Someone lost their life. But we can't take just that and run with it. Like, we can't, oh, he died at the hands of a white police officer. And I hate that. The media, and I know this is the media, for someone, for the media, CNN, MSNBC, everybody, to say that an unarmed Black man was killed by a white Atlanta police officer. That right there already says that it's racism somewhere, right? I'm targeting this guy. You know, I'm targeting this unarmed Black male, when that's not the case. That's not the case at all. It should read, male assaulted 2 police officers, stole one of the police officers' taser, used it against this officer, and he was shot dead. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how it should be, but it's not. So yes, take him into custody. He assaulted 2 police officers, stole one of them taser, took off running. Now, I start to think about it like this. Would he be dead? No, he would not have been dead if he would have just kept running away. Because when you look at that video, the officer was in pursuit behind this suspect, but he did not have his gun in his hand. That shows intention. If I am chasing behind you and I have my gun in my hand, what am I going to do with it? Why do I have it in my hand? What am I about to do with it? When the chase started, the foot pursuit, when it started, the officer had his taser in his hand. It was only when the suspect turned around, pointed the taser at the officer, and fired it, when the officer dropped his taser, pulled out his handgun, and shot him. Nobody talks about that. So, last thing, I've heard people say, why is it that a taser could be considered non-lethal from the perspective of an officer to a citizen, but it is considered lethal when you use a taser from a citizen to an officer? If anybody uses their brain, it's common sense. If you have a taser, if I'm the officer and I have a taser, I am trying to restore order. That is why I have a taser. You're not compliant, okay? I'm not gonna tase you, take a weapon from you, and use that weapon against you. But it's just the opposite for a police officer. If you use a taser on a police officer, that is 6 seconds that officer is incapacitated. He can't move. He can't do anything. But what does he have? He have a live handgun on his hip that you can easily take out of the holster, blow his brains out. That is why it's considered deadly force if you use it against an officer. Even if it's a little handheld taser, one of those, it's the same thing. It is the same thing, but people don't think about it like that. It's not a perspective that people slow down to think about it like that. But if you do, it makes sense. Like, I can't be an officer walking around to instill laws and order and bring peace back. When you take out a taser and shoot me with it, and now I'm on the ground shaking, and that doesn't make sense.
When you see this type of news come up, when you see how things are being portrayed by the media,
mm-hmm.
Does it make you, first of all, how does it make you feel? Well, we know you don't like it, but how does it make you feel? And does it make you think back on the times that you were a police officer and you had to go through certain type of experiences?
Yes, it does, all the time. depending on, of course, the situation, because the George Floyd, that was totally
ask
different.
about that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was totally different. Okay, before I answer your question, let's talk about that for a second. The thing with that situation, I don't care if the guy knew the guy. Everybody said, "Oh my God, he knew him. They worked at the club together. He had it out for him." To me, when I look at videos, I try to look at it from the facts. I don't really care if you was having sex with this guy's wife. Like that really don't matter to me. I look at the facts of the video that I see. And a lot of friends, they send me videos, and I literally say this: where's the beginning of this video? Don't show me a video. If you want my honest opinion, don't show me a video that just starts with an officer punching someone in the face. Don't start the video there. What led up to that? Now, if you say there is no other video, like this is it, the officer just walked up and punched this dude square in the mouth, that's a problem. But if you look at the totality of the whole thing, what led up to that? Okay, so George Floyd. Okay, so apparently, and I'm because I'm not a doctor or anything, I don't know. I'm just going on what I've heard, what I've read, what I've seen in the media. Apparently, he had some type of drugs in his system, possibly. I don't know. But I do know this. If he did, and you are fighting someone that is drugged out as a police officer, it is like trying to fight a bear. I've been there. I've done it. I've actually fought with someone coked out of their mind. It is a different experience. It is totally different from just fighting a regular person that's drinking or drunk or something like that. It's totally different. So it's like they literally have supernatural strength. And they actually teach this in the academy. They tell you, hey, be on the lookout for this. If you're fighting someone that is coked out of their mind, it's like fighting, they got supernatural strength. Like they can move things, they can pick up things. Like literally, I'm serious, they can. So if this is the situation, and they tried to put him in the car, I've done that. If someone is in the car and they're drugged out, they're mad, they don't want to go to jail, they start to kick, even if they're not drugged out. People just sober, they just don't want to go to jail. They kick at the doors, they kick at the windows. All police cars doesn't have those bars on the windows. So if you're kicking on the window, guess what you're going to do? You're going to kick the window out. So now that's damage to city property. That is another charge, but now this officer is out of commission, possibly for the rest of his shift. Or he has to go back, get another car, and all of this stuff. Meanwhile, someone is calling 911 in his area of coverage that he cannot respond to because he's going back to the precinct to swap out cars. So you don't want someone to kick a window out. Yes, it will be replaced, but you don't want someone to kick a window out. So if I'm just speaking now from my experiences, if someone is trying to kick out the window, you tell them, stop kicking on the window. Man, if you just messed up, and they keep kicking on the window, guess what you do? You take them back out of the car. Till medical can arrive, or the actual, people call them the paddy wagons, the vans that has no windows that you can put them in, okay? If you don't have one of those, then you got to call Grady. Well, for us, it's Grady because I'm in Atlanta, Grady Medical. So Grady comes out, you strap them down to the gurney in handcuffs. So now they can't kick. They can't do anything. Their legs and everything are strapped down. You take them to the hospital, let them sober up, and then you just proceed with your investigation that way. All right. So in this situation, if you take the gentleman back out the car, put him on the ground, you have to contain him. Now people say, oh, well, he was handcuffed. I've had people handcuffed before. I've had people handcuffed in the back, and magically, I thought I did magic, their handcuffs are in the front. It's crazy, but they do. People are flexible. People are limber. They can do that. No matter how big, how small you are, people can. All it takes is a little, I guess you could say, double jointedness. It's possible for it to happen, for you to move your handcuffs from the back to the front. I've had it to happen. I've got into a fight with someone like that because I had to undo it. Now you have to undo the handcuff, one of them, to put their hands back. That's a dangerous moment, because when you do that, the fight is on. Because now they're not like this, they're like this now. They have one whole free hand. Okay, so you take him out of the car, you put him on the ground. if he is still trying to get up, it's going to take everything you can and 6 other people and 9 other people to keep this guy on the ground. Now,
Again, if he's got like cocaine in his system or something.
Right, because he is going to be trying to get up. Now,
If
here's
he's big as fuck too, right? If he's huge.
right.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. The knee on the neck. Have I put my knee on somebody's neck? You're damn right. Like I have. I think the problem with this was once the guy really wasn't moving, once he really, this is before he died, once you can hear in his voice that I'm no longer a threat. I'm not going to try to get up anymore. I was trying to get up. I get it. I see why y'all on my back. I'm not trying to get up anymore. I'm just going to lay here. I'm going to lay here and chill out. Once that attitude started to come out, like, hey, I'm not resisting anymore. Y'all got it. You got it. I'm good. I'm not resisting anymore. You have that, and you have the bystanders saying, hey, take your knee off his neck. Take your knee off his neck. I think somewhere in that officer's mind, he should have just moved his knee. Like, he should just moved his knee. Could have moved it to his shoulder blade, right? But just take it off his neck. That's my thoughts on it, right? You don't really need your knee on his neck. You really don't, because it ain't much you can do with your neck, right? So I think at that point, for that officer to keep his knee there, it was more of, I wouldn't necessarily say a cockiness, but it was more of, I'm in charge, this is what I'm going to do, and who the hell are you to tell me different? I think it was more one of those, an arrogantness, I guess you could say. Because he could have literally, and that's what they was begging for. Hey, just you can stay there. I'm not telling you not to stay there. Just take your knee off of his neck. Okay. Now let's talk about the death itself. Did him having his knee on his neck kill him? I'm not a doctor. I'm gonna say no. This is why. I'm not a doctor, but I have been in the medical field. Now, you have carotid arteries. You have carotid artery here, you have carotid artery here, okay? If you restrict one of these, like as hard as you can, you might get lightheadedness, but you're not gonna pass like all the way out to the point of death because you still have one. So there's still a flow of blood to your brain here, okay? This is still working here, right? And if you take this one out, you still have one. Now, is it constricted? Yeah, it's gonna be constricted. It's not gonna be as much. You may black out. Are you gonna die from it? You know what I'm saying? Like, you think about it. In order to choke someone, if you're really I'm gonna choke you. This is how you have to choke. You can't choke somebody. Not here now. I'm not talking about this choke. I'm not talking about like this, because when you do this, you are concluding both of these, okay? You can't choke somebody like this just by holding one. If I grab you like this, I can't choke you. Like, oh, I'm gonna choke you, and you're gonna look at me like, what are you doing, right? So in order to choke someone, you have to restrict all of this, all right? So I don't think the knee on the neck is what killed him, okay? Now, did it restrict the flow? Yes, yeah, because like I told you, I was in the medical field for 6 years in the military. So yeah, it restricted, but did he die from that solely? I don't think so. Everybody, everybody, you watch this, whoever's gonna be watching this, try this experiment. Lay down on your stomach on the ground, okay? Put your hands behind your back and just hold them there. Like, hold your hands just like this behind your back. And let 3 people you know kneel on your back. Tell me how long you can stay like that before you really start to say, I can't breathe. This is why your diaphragm is not expanding the way it should. Because you have this hard surface, your diaphragm, and now more weight pressing on it. So now your lungs cannot expand. You can't do that it really has nothing to do with this. It kind of contributed to it. Maybe that made him lightheaded. But as far as oxygen and can't breathe, hands up, I can't breathe, I think that is what caused. On top of if he had any drugs in his system. Because now he may have an elevated heart rate. So now his heart is jumping all around. He's trying to breathe and he can't. Cardiac arrest. So I feel like, this is just me, and I'm not rooting for the officer. I'm really not, because he should have moved his knee. But I feel like, and I could be totally wrong, that the charges, I feel like I said, I could be wrong. This is just my feelings. I don't think he's going to be found guilty on, I think they get like manslaughter or something like that, whatever the charges are now. If anything, I feel like that he would be guilty, probably some other stuff too, but the main charge would be probably involuntary manslaughter. Because him having his knee on his neck contributed to his death. It didn't kill him. Like, that's the thing. Everybody, oh my God, his knee on his neck killed him. No, I really don't think it killed him. It contributed to it, but I don't think it killed him. Thing they teach in the academy. When you handcuff someone, they teach this in the academy. You have to set them up. You can't leave them laying like that, because it does really restrict their airflow. Like I said, if you think I'm lying, try it. Steven, Mike, y'all try that tonight. Just try it. And look, here's the thing. This is what I want everybody to know. Just say if your significant other, friend, or whatever is 100 pounds. We'll just say if they're 100 pounds, okay? You get 3 of them laying on your back, kneeling on your back. That is 300 pounds now. A force is coming, opposing force. That's only if they weigh 100 pounds. Those 3 men, forget the neck guy. The other 3 men, I promise you, they weighed over 100 pounds. You see what I'm saying? So if you're looking at like a 200-pound guy, that's like almost 600 and some pounds. You see what I'm saying? Like on your back. You can't.
In 6th grade, I remember I had somebody push me to the floor, and then he sat on my chest. He just sat on my chest, and he was laughing like a maniac. And I couldn't even get one word. I was like, get up. And I was crying, and I literally thought I was going to die. And if he stayed on my chest, I'm 100% certain I'd pass out and then die, because that's the closest to death I felt out of a lot of things I went through, you know? And I never felt more helpless in my life. I never forgot it. That was in, 2000, 2001?
Right.
It's been 20 years.
Right.
So, yeah, like I understand that this really does. I mean, even with singing, you know,
right.
Breathing, like if you don't breathe here, then yeah. But yeah, but the neck thing for sure, like, because he's older too, right? I don't really know how old he is, but
yeah, I'm not sure how old he was either.
Yeah. So outside of that, though, right? So given the training tells you that air is restricted, or you know, breathing can be impeded over time, you know, as that pressure and that weight is bearing on the person's back. When he started saying, I can't breathe, they had knowledge prior that could be the effect.
Exactly.
And they maintained
exactly
and stayed their ground.
So what I say is, and that's those 3 officers, I think those possibly should be the ones that's actually charged. Yeah, the other guy should be charged as well. The knee neck guy, he should be charged as well, because he kind of contributed. He could have moved it, right? You know, I mean, why are you keeping your knee on his neck? He could have moved it. But the other officers, and that's going back to what I said, when he got to the point of, y'all got it, I can't breathe, just set me up, you know, just at that point, they should have got up. Now, if he started resisting again, sit back down, right? But at least try to set him up. Because even if you set him up into a sitting position with your hands behind your back, legs straight out in front of you, cross your legs. And if you don't want to cross them, I'm gonna snatch them out and I'm gonna cross them for you. To get up in that position is almost impossible. With your legs straight out in front of you, and cross at the ankles and your hands behind your back, to get up and try to run is almost impossible, right? So for him to, hey, I can't breathe. I'm blacking out. I think at that point, something should have triggered and be like, okay, let's get up off his back. Let's try something else now. Let's switch gears, because he's really not resisting anymore. So let's sit this guy up, lean him against the back of the patrol car or the side of the patrol car, cross his ankles or whatever, and we're going to stand here right around him. And if he moves or anything, we're just going to put him right back down on the ground, literally.
So now who makes that call, though, right? So you had
a
bunch of guys, right? So is there a primary?
No, it's just somebody, officer, whoever, it's that's the thing, is one person, the Asian guy that was there, he was say, hey guys, you get up off his back and just set him up. Yeah. Anybody could have said it. It really doesn't matter. Or nobody didn't even have to say it. One person could have just started moving in that direction and everybody else would have followed. But seeing how all three of those people were lined up on his back and they were just sitting there, like I said, now if he was still doing whatever he was possibly doing to get into that position, once he started not resisting anymore, like once his demeanor changed, once his tone changed, y'all got it. I can't breathe. I just want some air. Just get off of my back. That type of thing, something should trigger and say, okay, all right, bro, we gonna give you some air. We finna get up. If you start acting crazy, we're gonna put your ass back down again. You see what I'm saying? So now you get up, and if you start easing up, and if he start, you put him right back down. But for him to go through the whole thing of, I can't breathe, I need some air, and you continue to stay there. That's why I said, though, I think more so the three guys, because they could have sat him up.
And you know what? I see what you mean.
If they would have sat him up, then he would have got off his neck naturally.
Yeah, and I see what you mean about the whole power thing, right? Which is also, in your opinion, why he probably kept his knee on his neck. Because in a fight, one-on-one fight with two men, if the other one is clearly getting fucked up, and then the guy that's beating his ass is kind of like, are you done? And they're like, yeah, I'm done. They're like, okay, because he submitted. But if he continues to beat his ass, then there's something probably wrong in that guy's head where the power, that aggression, it's like, yes, I'm going to fucking savagely destroy you. Right. So in a sense, I kind of see the correlation between that and keeping the knee on the neck, because the power, you just feel, because men, we love power, no matter where it comes from. And you give a man enough power, no matter how nice they are, they're going to use it one way or another. Now, it varies per person, of course. But in this situation, definitely, I feel like if somebody says, I can't breathe, and you can feel their body just not resisting anymore, like you said, you can feel their body go limp. Anymore. You can feel them go limp. You don't have to even ask them. You can feel their body just give up. Right.
And at that point, and that's what I'm saying, at that point, somebody should have either verbally said it or just start moving in a direction to get off of the guy's back and at least try to set him up, And in that position, if he start acting crazy again, just put him back down on the ground again. It's simple. You already have control over him. Put him back down on the ground again. It's simple.
And you have a lot of
that's why I feel like those three guys should be more.
Well, they can also feel the resistance of the body, because when the body. I can imagine, right?
Right, because I've been on somebody's back. It's everything I can take. I'm laid out starfish on someone's back, and they're still trying to get up, and I'm like, bro, chill out, chill out. All while I'm calling for backup because I'm by myself. That is the guy that I was telling you about. That he moved his handcuffs to the front. Oh. He moved his handcuffs to the front. I got him out of the car, pushed him against the car. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna move these handcuffs back to the back again. If you do anything, I'm gonna put your ass on the ground. I'm talking big. Yeah, I'm talking big. And he was a big guy now. So as soon as I unclicked one of them, I think he felt it. He felt the pressure when it released. And at that point, he tried to push off on me. But I still had the handcuff, and he was attached on one end. So I took it, went back to my training. I got to apply some pain. I got to put pain in there. So I start twisting the handcuff, because hopefully when it hits this bone right here, you're like, ow, 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 ow. Okay, that didn't work. That didn't work. So now I was like, well, crap. We're both standing up. 95% of all fights, they end on the ground. how many times in a street fight do you know people just stand there and fight? 9 times out of 10, they're going to fall to the ground. They teach you that in the academy as well. So here's the thing. I need to get this guy on the ground, right? I need to get him on the ground. So I just pulled him down and grabbing his legs and got him down to the ground. So now, in my mind, I'm thinking, now how am I going to get these hands back to his back again, right? Because I failed on top of him. So now his hands are like this, right? And I'm on top of him, but he has one free hand. So he's like hitting me and hitting me and hitting me with her, but I still have that handcuff, right? So now finally he started to try to get up. I bear hugged him. We went back down to the ground. My mic fell off, right? So guess what I cannot do now? Call for backup, right? So I'm in this situation fighting and I'm by myself, right? People don't think like that when they start to criticize officers. This guy was wrong. He was wrong. He was going to jail. But now I'm fighting and I can't call for backup. So finally, my mic had went all down between my legs on a little stretchy cord. So finally, I managed to get it. And I told our dispatch, I need help. She sent everybody. By the time they got there, everybody convened in, put him back into handcuffs, and that was it. But for those moments, I'm literally fighting because I don't know what he wants to do. I don't know if he wants to get up and run. I know he doesn't have a gun, but one of us does have one. So I don't know if he wants to take my gun and hurt me. I don't know if he wants to run to the nearby store. I don't know if he just wants to get up and have a conversation. I don't know what he wants to do. But at that moment, my job is to go home to my family. So I need to restrain this guy as much as I can. Now, let's talk about that. Police departments. And when I say police departments, I'm only speaking of Atlanta. I can only speak for Atlanta. Officers are allowed to go one step above, maybe even two, of whatever threat is presenting at them. Whatever threat, okay? If, God forbid, my gun fall off, everything falls off on my duty belt, and this guy pulls out a pocket knife, right? The only thing I got around is a brick. I am allowed by law to take that brick and slap the shit out of you, okay? I am. Some people call it a dirty fight. Is it a dirty fight? Yeah, it may be. But I think these laws are set up so the officer is safe. It keeps the officer safe because it is a very unsafe job. So anything in the favor of the officer to keep them safe, we're going to give it to them. So by law, I am allowed to go a step above whatever you're presenting me with. If you present me with a stick, I could take out a taser. Why would I try to spray you? Yeah, I can, right? Why would I try to spray you? So if you throw the stick now, right? If you throw the stick now and it hits me, that's a problem. You see what I'm saying? Now, so can I do that? Yes, but I am allowed by law to go 1-2 steps above whatever the threat is. Now, let's talk about lethal, non-lethal, everything. People see officers out in public, they see all this little fancy stuff on their belts, and they be like, oh, wow, this is cool, da-da-da, whatever. Everything on that officer's belt is there for a reason, and it's positioned for a reason. People don't know this. It just looks like it's some randomly thrown stuff on this Batman belt. No, this stuff is literally positioned for a reason. Starting with your non-lethal, going up to your lethal. The first step is verbal commands. That's my non-lethal. Get on the ground. Turn around. Those are my non-lethal commands. The next non-lethal would be considered my OC spray, pepper spray. That is right in front. It's always in the front. It's not in the back. It's in the front. Why? So you can get to it quickly, right? Because you may have to use that more times than not. It's right here in the front, right? Just get it, spray. The second is your ass baton. That's the long pole that they pull out and it extends out, okay? and that's ASP, like ASP, ASP.
Okay, I was just gonna say. Yeah.
Aspeton. Fuck your Aspeton up.
No, ASP, ASP. I think that's the company. I think that's the company, Aspeton. So that's the next thing, okay? Now, the clicking noise, when that thing fully extends out, the clicking noise, that a lot of times, that psychologically, well, let's go back to the pepper spray. Pepper spray, if I take out pepper spray, just like this, right? And I start to shake it, psychologically, you don't want these problems, right? Think about it. Think about if you've been in a club, security, whatever the case may be. You girlfriend, crazy ex, whatever. And she starts shaking, right? You don't even hear her like a little paintball, like the little ball in it. Just the motion of somebody shaking this. Psychologically, you think, hey, I don't want them problems, right? So it's like a psychological effect. It really is. Like, but people don't think about it like this. They just, you don't know why you like, okay, you got it. You don't know why you say that, but that's why you say it, because you psychologically, you know something is about to happen.
Because there's two steps before the actual shooting. There's the pulling out of the pepper spray, and then there's a shaking. So then, right? So if they know you have it, but it's still on your side, they're still gonna feel like, oh, I feel kind of froggy, like I could still do something.
But when you take it out, you say, hey, back up. You're still giving verbal commands. Back up while you spray. They're like, okay, yeah, I don't want these problems, right? Okay. Now let's go to the Aspeton. Same situation. When you take it out, it's by we long, right? It's a little black thing. But when you shake it and it extends now, when that locks in place, it's a sound. It creates a sound. It's like a clicking, a loud clicking sound. Right then, and also it's silver. So it goes from black to silver. So now you can see it, right? So that's like, oh shit, right? Yeah. It's like a magic trick. Just now it's like this long stick, and it's like, I don't. And it's silver, which means it's probably heavy, which means if you hit me with it, it's probably gonna hurt, right? Y'all don't want these problems, okay?
Yeah, the sound and how it looks is all by design, right? To
exactly.
incur
do what I'm telling you to do, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now
like
you
pumping
have
a shotgun.
Right, exactly. Everybody knows that sound. You breaking
all the
movies,
right?
Right. That sound, it just does something to you. Okay, so you have your verbal, your OC, your Aspeton. The next step is your taser. Okay, you have your taser. Tasers are always on the opposite side of your dominant hand. So if you're right-handed, of course, your handgun is on your right-hand side. Your taser is on the left. If you're left-handed, your taser is on the right, your gun is on the left. The reason they do that is because, of course, so you don't reach and grab the wrong thing. If both of them are side by side, oh crap, I thought I grabbed my taser, but you actually grabbed a handgun, you shot and killed this person with that adrenaline. A lot of people say, well, how do you mistake a taser for a handgun? With adrenaline, it's easy to do it, okay? So now, that's for the officers, I guess you could say officer safety, and the citizen to keep them from being killed. It's always on the opposite side, all right? The next thing, once again, is the verbal cues. The next thing is the verbal cues is your taser is bright yellow, okay? It's a bright yellow taser. So if I take this out, okay, and I'm pointing it at you, all you see is a school bus, right? And it's huge, it's real big, it's like a school bus. You like, I don't know what that is, but it's pretty bright, so it's probably gonna hurt me. Just like in nature, bees and insects, they're colored a certain way to make them frightening, right? It's the same thing, psychological. Now, if that doesn't get their attention, you can actually trigger a taser so it says, bah, 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 but nothing happens, right? You can trigger that. So right then, and now it's an auditorial cue, like, okay, I need to chill out now, right? Yeah, I'm gonna tase you, bah, 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 bah. Okay, you got it, okay? So if that doesn't work, yeah, of course you're shooting with a taser. After your taser, welcome to heaven. Like, there's nothing else. Like, after the taser, there's nothing else. There's nothing else but a gun. That's it. So that is going through the whole line of non-lethal to lethal. Officers don't carry anything else. They don't carry anything else that say, oh, why didn't you use this or why didn't you do that? There is nothing. So in the Atlanta's case, where the suspect pointed a taser, there's nothing after that, right? How am I going to combat a taser? Like, shoot him back with a taser? No, right? Because I think he already tried to shoot him once when he ran by,
Right.
and it either didn't catch or he missed. Tasers can only shoot twice, right? So that's it. So now when you present him with a taser, he presented you with a handgun. That was that one step above. That's that.
And then I remember you were talking about this off the podcast. You said that a lot of people say, including myself, I thought this, that if it was me, I would have shot them in the leg or the arm.
Right.
And then I'd like your take on that.
Yeah, so I laugh every time someone say that because once again, that's the movies. And I think movies in Hollywood has screwed up everybody's sense of reality, okay? But when like I said, when you, whoever is going to be looking at this and listening, if you really just think about what I'm saying, and I'm not sitting here saying, I'm going to answer your question, but I'm not sitting here saying that, oh, no, officers are always right. They're right. They're right. No, officers are wrong. There are some officers wrong, but it takes a strong officer that's willing to admit that he's wrong, because you have that power. You have that badge right here. You have that power. So for an officer to humble himself and say that he was wrong, that's a stellar officer, right? So officers are wrong. They're not all right, all right? So to shoot someone in the leg or in the hand or in the butt or in the foot, that's all Hollywood. Here's why. If you aim for a small target and miss, and that bullet hits a table, hits the ground, ricochets, and kills someone else, some grandma, your grandma, right? When all this investigation comes out and they say, officer, whatever, what were you aiming at? Because on the range, when you qualify, everything is center mass, which is here. All of this, okay? Same thing back here. It's a bigger target. And you qualify, so you pass the range. So you're able to put all of those holes in the center mass, okay? That's what you train to do. So what were you aiming at? Because the guy is still living, but you just killed a grandma. What were you aiming at? Or he has a bullet hole in his leg. What were you aiming at? Oh, I was aiming at his leg. Why? Can you imagine the amount of lawsuits that will come from that? Because officers don't train to shoot legs, hands, and this is what I was telling you before. Think about it like this. If you have somebody, a hostage, right? Just like this right here. Okay, I got a hostage. Back up. Don't fucking come in here. I'm gonna kill this bitch. Da, da, da. Right? Just like this. Negotiators try to talk this guy down. Put the gun down. Put the gun down. Just let him go. Just let him go. We're going to give you a pizza. We're going to give you a helicopter. You can fly down here in $2 million like you see on Negotiator, the movie, and all this other stuff, right? It doesn't work. Back up. Let me get out of here. I want a cell phone. I want a pizza, pepperoni. Okay, so that's all we need. Pepperoni. Right? Right? So you got this guy or this woman. Now, shit is hit the fan. We need SWAT, right? SWAT shows up. SWAT negotiators. There's another level of negotiation. SWAT negotiators, right? They try to negotiate. It doesn't work. So now they're going to take a shot. One shot. What are we going to shoot at? Are we going to shoot at this, right? Or are we going to shoot at this? Or I'm going to hold my hand right here. You tell me which is bigger. My face, my head, or my hand. These are all bigger targets than my hand. One shot, one kill. That's it. If I shoot the hand and the reflex jerks and you shoot this lady, you just killed two people. You just literally killed two people. You didn't save the hostage and you killed, you see what I'm saying? So of course you're gonna shoot to kill. Whatever it's that kill shot, literally a kill shot. The job is, if it gets to that point, is to neutralize the threat. Every officer is taught that. Neutralize, not maim them, put them in the hospital. If it gets to that point, if it gets to deadly force, you are to neutralize the threat. Not just hurt them, don't shoot them in the ear, neutralize it, which means take them off planet Earth. It's sad and it's a harsh reality to hear it like that, but it's true.
Yeah, and here's what I was thinking too. If, let's say they were aiming for the hand anyways, right? Because it's such a small target, if they miss and then it hits them even in like in this scenario, you used to like a sniper situation where you have to aim for the head because it's hostage.
Mhm.
If it hits somewhere, misses and hits the body, the finger still works before they collapse or you know, right, or the jerk, like you know, right. So
Yeah, reflex. Yep.
then that person's taken out. The hostage is
Right.
taken out, which is the one that
And
it's
We're
not the
trying to
threat.
save. Right, we're trying to save
And the
that
threat
person.
is still
Yeah.
alive.
Right, the threat is still alive. Right, but you just killed the person that you're trying to keep alive, and the threat is still alive. Yeah, it's crazy. So, you know, I hear that a lot. Oh, you could have just shot him in the leg. You could have shot. No. And I laugh. No, officers don't shoot in the leg. If he's to the point where he's pulling out his gun, everybody needs to know this. And it's sad because officers pull out their guns a lot of times for no reasons, right? And you have adrenaline, right? You have adrenaline running and everything else, okay? What was the gentleman name? Was it Philando Castillo? I think that was his name. The one that was shot in the car with his girlfriend, and they was on like Facebook Live or something like that.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember his name, but
Okay, so the officer had this guy at gunpoint, right? Here's the problem with that. Now, I need to watch that video again, but I think the officer actually had his finger on the trigger, right?
Lando.
Yeah, Orlando, yeah. I think he actually had his finger on the trigger, and that's a problem, right? Because if a butterfly fly across your face too fast and I thought it was something else, you're going to pull the trigger because it's adrenaline. It's sad to say it, but I think that was the case. They don't teach you that. They don't. So everybody is on police officers. Oh, they need better training. They need to do this. Police officers don't teach that. They don't teach, put your finger on the trigger. They don't. They really don't. They teach, keep your finger straight and off it. If anybody ever goes to a range, they tell you
it's always side,
always
side.
off. Don't put
right. Keep your finger off of the trigger until you are ready to fire. That's it. Right? So police officers, police departments, they do the same thing. They don't teach you to have your finger in the whale like this right here. And you better not move. You better not move. Because if anything happens, if you burp, if you pass gas, you're gonna shoot, right? And the person is dead. Okay, ain't no coming back for that. They're dead. So they don't teach that. Just like they don't teach running with your gun in your hand. What if I trip over a rock?
Whatever. Yep.
Right. What if I trip over a rock and I got my gun in my hand and it shoots, right? I can kill myself. I can kill somebody. They don't teach that. And these are for Atlanta. I can speak for Atlanta. These are scenarios that we go through in the police academy. Like, you may have somebody at gunpoint. Get down. If that person takes off running, guess what you have to do? It's
holster.
It's exactly. It's like an inconvenience but it's muscle memory, right? They take off running from you. You have to holster up and run after them. You can't be running. You better stop. You can't do that. And they don't teach you that. So if you see videos of officers doing that, like I said before, they're wrong. Right? They're wrong. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh no, they're right. Just because I was a police officer, oh no, they're right. No, you're wrong because they don't. Now I can't speak for California. I don't know. But for Atlanta, they don't teach that. Hence the reason probably when the guy was running, he had his taser, not his gun. Right? So, because if he did, he would have been wrong out the gate. And when he turned around and did the thing, he dropped it and fired. So I mean, that's my spiel on that.
So in those situations, obviously, that is a scenario where that police officer probably needs to develop better muscle memory.
Right. And if you have someone at gunpoint, there's no problem with having people at gunpoint. I've had people at gunpoint, but you don't keep your finger on the trigger because now it's a step. It's one half of a step before you take someone's life, right? No police department wants to take your life. Nobody, right? Because for me, you know, and this is a segue right into my experience, right? Being deployed in Iraq is totally different. I done killed little kids and everything. They're a threat, right? It's totally different. When you come here, like, I think the conscious of it that you would live with for the rest of your life, right? It's kind of like, damn, I just killed somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's heavy. That's a lot. It really is. People go insane because of that. Like, it's a lot, right? Even a police officer, you're equipped to do that. No, because if there is a police shooting, guess what is required? You have to go through counseling. You have to before they release you back out. You have to. It's mandatory. And that doctor that you're going through the counseling, they have to write off and sign off and says, yes, he is or she is fit for duty. Because it messes up with your psyche. Like you sit around, you're not eating, you're not drinking, like you're like, damn, I just killed somebody, right? Now not to mention, now you're watching CNN and they're holding the funeral and everything else. And meanwhile, you're at home, kids are jumping on your lap, daddy, and you're sitting there like, wow, I just killed this guy. Like that's me. I literally just killed this guy. So it messes with you, all right? So no officer, you probably do got racist officers out there. I'm pretty sure you do. Just like you got racist doctors, you got racist everybody, right? But I think, me personally, for the majority, no officer wants to kill somebody. Like, you just don't. You're just not a hunting spree. No, it's not. So my situation where I almost killed somebody, literally, was I was on my way. I was working morning watch, which is like in the wee hours, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was on my way to the precinct. I had to do some paperwork or whatever. And this is when I was in zone 1. I mentioned before I was in zone 1. This is pretty much the hood. Okay. So on my way to the precinct, it was like 2:30 in the morning. There was this guy he jumped down the road. He tried to flag me down. He's like, hey, and I just shot right by him. I saw him. I shot right by him. I'm not trying to get tied up in that because we're human too. Y'all remember to remind me about we're human too. We're going to talk about that. So we're human too. It's the late night. I'm tired. I done had a long night. I'm not trying to get involved with whatever this guy got going on, right? He just have to call 911. That's how I look at it, right? I'm not going to stop. Just call 911. So he was standing in the road. I looked in my side mirror. I was gone. He's standing in the road like, hey, come back. So I turned around. I came back or whatever. And I asked the guy. I said, hey, so what's going on or whatever? He was like, I just got robbed. Now this guy looked like a crackhead. It really did. Your typical crackhead, you Google crackhead, you see a picture of a crackhead, he looked like a crackhead, right? I was like, I just got robbed. I told him straight up, looked him dead in the eyes, and said, you got to call 911. Okay? I'm like, I'm not getting tied up in that. So he was like, no, man, it just happened, da-da-da-da, whatever. I was like, where? He was like, on the street right here. I was like, okay, so what happened? What did they take? This dude told me that they took a cell phone and 2 lottery tickets. And I told him again, you got to call 911. I'm not getting tied up in this bullshit. I'm not. I didn't tell him that I'm not getting tied up. I was like, you got to call 911. Like, I'm on my way to something else. I can't deal with this right now, right? Which I wasn't. I was on my way to the precinct just to do some paperwork. So he was like, oh, it just happened. I said, what kind of phone was it? I'm thinking he's going to say an iPhone. This dude told me a flip phone. I was like, nah, man, I'm definitely not doing it. I said, did you win on the lottery ticket? He's like, yeah, I won on lottery tickets. So I said, okay, so would he pull a knife? He was like, no, he pulled a gun. What a gun look like? He said, it was about like this right here. I said, was it silver, black? He was like, silver. I was like, all right. I said, where did it happen at? And he said, it happened over there. Got the description of the guy. He told me it was a black male. He was tall, black coat, dark colored coat, white hat, right? So I was like, all right, I'm finna go. I told him to hold tight right there. I'm gonna go over here. He was at the gas station. I'm gonna go over here on the street and see if I see him, all right? So I went over on the street. I remember 2:30 at night, right? It was black dark outside. So I'm riding down the street and I had my headlights on. So in the distance, way down in the distance, I seen, looked like a white hat walking. I couldn't really make out anything else, but it was a white hat. So I stopped in the middle of the road and I was like, I know this ain't the guy. So now I was like, well, I'm just going ahead and talk to him. See if I can just talk this guy into giving me back if he took it, the cell phone, lottery tickets, whatever the case may be, if I have to arrest him, I arrest him. So I started heading down the road and there was a little voice that spoke to me and said, don't go, right? Now, let's pause there. They teach you this in the academy as well. Those little voices that you hear, listen to them. We even have them now. Steven, you have them. You're not a police officer. But you have these little voices that speak to you and say, this is bad. This is probably not going to end good. Whatever it is, I don't think you should purchase this. I don't think you should do this, right? But you ignore it and you just go ahead and do it anyway. Sometimes if you buy stuff, that's buyer's remorse because you're like, man, I shouldn't have bought that, right? But the little voice told you, you just ignored it, okay? But for a police officer, that little voice is life or death, right? So if it's something telling you, hey, don't do this, and they always told you that these little hairs on the back of your neck, they'll start to stand up, right? Spidey senses, we really do have them. It lets you know that something is wrong. So I was going down the road in the car, heading down the road real slow, like a real slow creep. Some said, hey, don't do that. Little hair starts standing up. So I turned my headlights off. So now I just got my gold fog lights on. It was a Crown Vic. I got my gold fog lights on. So I'm sitting in the road and I'm literally talking to myself. I'm like, but I'm just gonna go down there and talk to the guy. And if he got the thing, get it back. But I'm planning all this out in my mind, right? It was like, remember that. I'm planning this out. I know how this is gonna happen because I'm just planning it out. So I was like, I'm just gonna go down and talk to him. It ain't no big deal. Soon as I start rolling again, I heard the voice again. It felt like someone was literally whispering in my ear, like sitting right here telling me, don't do it. It became a real eerie feeling, right? So I got on the radio for backup. One of my homeboys, he got on the radio in the car. He asked me, he was like, hey, where you at? So I told him where I was, asked him where he was. He said, he's at the precinct. So he's right down the street. So he's coming my way. So I said, listen, when you come in, don't have your blue lights on, don't have your siren on, because I don't want to spook this guy, right? I don't want him to take off running because it's houses. He's just going to disappear, right? So I don't want you to spook the guy. So he was like, all right. So all I heard was, I was like, this idiot, I just told him not to have, but he was at a distance, right? So as he got closer, he killed the siren, and I seen just the blue lights bouncing off the houses, okay, as he was getting closer. So he got back on the radio. He was like, hey, Thomas, I'm pulling up there. Where you at? And I said, look for my lights. So as soon as I turned my lights on there, my blue lights, I rolled up on this guy, right? My homeboy, he came through the intersection this way, and I was going straight. So we kind of missed each other, right? But I went directly to this guy with the white hat on, okay? So soon as I pulled up to this guy with his hands, this is all I seen. He reached just like this, right? Behind his waistband, okay? So I put the car in park. I turned the radio off. I put my spotlight on him. I took my seatbelt off. And I don't remember doing none of that. Like, it literally happened just like that. I don't remember doing any of that. And I pulled out my gun. So I did all of that stuff in literally, it felt like to me, a half of a second. I had this dude at gunpoint. I'm yelling to him, get out on the ground, stop reaching, stop reaching, stop reaching. All of this. My homeboy, he was busy turning around and he came back, right? So I think when he came back, he saw me, had this dude at gunpoint. He was like, oh shit, then hit the fan. So he jumped out. He had him at gunpoint as well. So we both got this dude at gunpoint, right? So he was like, what? Why I ain't do that? I ain't do that. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. So he reached again, just like this right here, right? Stop reaching. Let's pause. The academy teaches you this. People don't kill you. These kill you. If I cannot see your hands, it's a problem, right? Think about it logically. If I got a gun, it's just sitting on the table, it ain't gonna do nothing. I have to pick it up and fire it. My hands have to do the work, okay? So he kept reaching. So with me not seeing his hand, I don't know what's about to happen, right? I don't know if he's finna come out with a gun. You see how fast that is? Come out with a gun. I don't know if he's finna come out with a gun. I don't know what he's finna come out with, but I know he keep reaching. So there's something that he's trying to reach for in my mind. Stop reaching, stop reaching, stop. Get on the ground, get up. What? I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. So he kept reaching. Listen, I got to the point, I kid you not, this was a strange, crazy, creepy part in this whole scenario. I got to the point where I literally saw crime scene out there. I saw me being on the news. I saw my supervisors out there. I saw the crime scene tape. I literally saw all of this in my mind. Here's why. Because I'm about to kill this dude. Like, I made it up in my mind, I am about to kill this dude, okay? I've been yelling verbal commands, yelling, and you keep reaching. With the information that I got from the guy, he has a gun because he presented it to him. right? So all of this is going on. Now, mind you, what you think would have happened? And that's the knowledge that I have. If somebody was in their bedroom window and they heard the commotion and they took out their phone and they did this.
At that point, yep.
That's where it would have started, right? Not knowing that I already have all this. To them, oh man, he just rolled up on this dude on the street and he just shot him dead. That's how it's spent, okay? So I told this dude, I looked him dead in the eyes and I told him, I said, bro, if you do not get on the ground, I am about to kill you. As calm as I could. Like, I was to the point where I was done yelling. I wouldn't because our verbal commands, it wasn't going anywhere, right? And this dude just kept reaching. It wasn't going anywhere. And this was before Atlanta got tasers. Okay? So the only thing I had on my duty belt right now was some pepper spray.
Wait, there was a period of time the police in Atlanta didn't have tasers?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yes, they didn't have tasers and they didn't have body cams, right? Mm-hmm. So, with all this stuff going out now, prior to everything that's going around now with all these shootings and stuff, now they got tasers and they got body cams now. Every officer has tasers and body cams now in Atlanta. But there was a time that when I was policing, we didn't have tasers, okay? I think they were phasing them in, but
at that time, that wasn't a standard issue.
Right. Everybody come to the precinct and get your taser because there's a course that you have to take, right? So I think they were phasing them in. So I didn't have a taser. So the only thing that I had on my duty belt, on my Batman belt, was some OC spray, pepper spray, and an ass baton. So I'm already giving you verbal commands. I have knowledge that you have a gun. Do you think I'm going to spray you? No. Because now if I spray you...
And even if you had a taser, depending on how far, it's only got an effective range of what,
right?
So it depends on.
And sometimes it doesn't work, even if it hits.
Right. And that's what I was gonna say. Remember, I told you, what the guy told me, he had on a coat. Mm-hmm. So if you have on a coat, it's probably not going to be effective because it has to actually touch skin in order for it to work, right? So I'm standing out here. Remember, non-lethal. Remember we talked about the steps. So I've literally yelled at this dude. Yell, get on the ground. That is not working. That's not effective. I have knowledge that he possibly has a gun. Am I going to spray him? Think about it. If this dude really does, if the dude really do have a gun and I spray him, then he blind with a gun. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and he's waving a gun.
Possibly. Right? It's not logical.
Yeah, he can still shoot.
Right. So then look, they even shoot me, shoot the neighbor, shoot everybody, right? So it's not logical. Now here's the next thing. Do I take out my ass baton? That's like me bringing a knife to a gunfight. I'm standing here, you have a gun, and I'm like, I'm going to hit you with this if you don't. Come on now, right? Okay, so no. So now the only thing I have is my gun, right? When I seen this guy reach, that's the first thing I grabbed for. Think about it. If he does this right here, I'm finna spray you. No, because I'm dead, right? I'm dead. Okay, so when he reached, I grabbed. So now, after I have literally, and it was eerie because I've literally made up in my mind that I'm about to kill this guy. My finger, it dropped down and it went in the trigger well. Mm-hmm. Listen to this now, I kid you not. I was literally pulling on the trigger slowly because I had made up in my mind, you are about to die. I am literally pulling on this trigger because it's like, I don't want to do it. Please get on the ground. You're about to die. This dude starfished out on the ground. Okay. So I told my backup that I had contact. He had cover. All that means is I'm going to holster my gun. I'm going to go in. I'm going to actually put hands on this guy. You keep your gun on him, low ready in case something happens. Right. So he was like, all right. So as soon as I went in, put him in handcuffs or whatever. First place I went to was his waistband. He's still laying on the ground. First place I went to was his waistband in the back. Loaded revolver, silver. The second place I went to, his pockets, cell phone, 2 lottery tickets.
Damn. He wasn't lying.
Right, he wasn't lying. He really wasn't lying. So on this revolver, the hammer was to the rear. So all he literally had to do was just pull the trigger.
Oh, he had it on the ready.
Air trigger.
It was right. So that trigger was already pushed back a little bit. So all he had to do was just barely tap it and it was gonna fire. So I went the hell off. You tried to motherfucking kill me. I went, no, man, I was trying to throw it. Bullshit. So now listen to this. Did I leave his ass on the ground, on his stomach? I sure did. And I left my homeboy over there. He trying to pick him up off the ground by himself because I'm pissed right now. Like, you literally just tried to kill me. He was like, no, I was trying to throw it away. No, bullshit, you tried to kill me. So when I got him in the car, got him in the back seat of the car, my homeboy said, you want to put him in my car? Or you put him? I said, no, put him in my car. I said, put him in my car. So we got in the car or whatever. So he's sitting in the back of the car. He was like, man, I said, bullshit, you tried to kill me. Da-da-da. So I done went through the traffic book, because we got like different code sections. I done went through my traffic book, and I done went through my criminal book. And I done found every possible charge that I can charge this guy with. So remember before we were selling POP, pissing off police. When I tell you, when I was said and done, this dude probably had like 20, 30 charges. Like every possible thing that I can think of, I charged him with it. I even charged this dude with traffic laws, pedestrian in the roadway. Like I charged this dude with every possible thing that I can charge him with. Now, he went to jail, took him to jail, of course. I don't know what happened with that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. He might be still in jail now. I don't know. Come to find out, he was on probation. He was a convicted felon, had a handgun. So that's why I was like, yeah. So I think what I'm trying to say is everybody judge police officers and stuff, and hey, you shouldn't be doing this. But it's easy to do that when you're not a police officer. It really is. Like, if you really think about it, it's really easy to do it when you're not. And everybody says, oh, police officers, they so scary. They shouldn't be so scary. Nah, it ain't a matter of that they're scary. You know what I'm saying? Police officers, it's not a matter of that they're scary, but you could be a potential threat to me and my family. Because if you take me, then I don't go home to my family. Let's talk about this for a second. The difference in the policing. I think the problem is you have white officers that don't know how to deal with the black man. Okay? And what I mean by that is black men, I feel like some black men, they have an inferiority complex, right? Where it's like what you were saying earlier, where it's like, I'm the man, right? Okay, that's cool. Every man has it. But I think now, the way the media is spinning all of this stuff, I think black men feel like they have to be King Kong more, right? I know my rights. No, you don't, right? Because CNN told you that you got rights. You got rights. Yeah, you got rights. So now you get pulled over. I know my rights, and you can't do this, and you can't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Yes, I can, right? So, I think as soon as, and I'm gonna tell you, I've experienced this, just not even police officers, just me in general. If you raise your voice, that I've experienced, now this is me, this is personal experience, this is me now, can't speak for every other black man. If you raise your voice at a white man, sometimes he humbles himself, right? But why does he do that? Okay, is he scared of you? Maybe. Do he think you're an animal? Maybe. Do you think he think you're gonna kick his ass? Maybe. I don't know. I'm just speaking from my experience, right? And this is outside of policing. This is just in general, right? If you bring your voice up an octave to a white man, as a black man, it seems like he comes down a notch. He's not so rah, 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 rah. He comes down a notch. It don't happen with every white man. I'm not saying every white man out there. It doesn't happen. But I have experienced, you raise your voice, they come down a little bit. So I think a lot of times that plays a role. So now you have this black man that just got pulled over, and now he's raising his voice at this white man that's from the suburbs, right? This black man is from the ghetto. This white officer's from the suburbs. He don't really know how to deal with it, right? But there is one thing that this white officer does have. Actually, it's two. There's one thing first. It's an ego, because you're a police officer. Oh, who the hell you think you're talking to? I'm the police. I'm the police. right? Like Training Day, Denzel Washington.
Oh,
I'll put cases on all y'all. I'm the police,
yeah,
right?
King Kong ain't got shit.
Right. Right. You see what I'm saying? So now you have that white officer because he's here now. He has his chest stuck out. In a normal situation, he may humble himself. But he the police. I tell you what to do. If I tell you to get down, you get down. But you got this black man that ain't backing down. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on. Right? So now, when that's not, when they like this, guess what happens now? Either you do, you see what I'm saying? Because now hopefully this is gonna get through to that black man. This is what he failed to realize. I see these shits every day. I'm from the hood. Pookie just got killed by one. I got one in the glove compartment. What is it? It's a gun. Oh, and? It's supposed to scare me? A normal person, maybe a white man, it would. I'm sorry, officer. You have it. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. A black man, he just go rah, 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 rah. Next thing you know, one dead black man. See what I'm saying? So policing is different, right? So, and I'm not saying this goes for every black person. I'm not saying this goes for every white person. But policing is different. You have, and I was telling Stephen about this when we talked on the phone. You got Beverly Hills, all right, in California. You got Beverly Hills, and then you got Compton. You cannot take a Beverly Hills police and stick him off in Compton and think that he's finna sit there and talk to Ice Cube and everybody. It ain't gonna happen, right? NWA, it ain't gonna happen, right? It ain't gonna. But see, here's the thing about that: the department, they have to do it, like they have to, because if they don't, think about it. If you got all white officers in Beverly Hills and you got all black officers in Compton, come on now, that's a problem right there. That's a lawsuit. That's a problem, right? So the police department, they have to move people around. They have to shuffle them around. But now you got it. They get the orders. They're like, oh shit, I'm going to Compton. They hate it. They go home and talk to their wives as white officers. They go home and talk to their wives. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't know how to, I ain't never seen a black person in my life. Like, I don't know. But guess what? He swore to uphold, so he has to do it. So now when he out there fighting with the Bloods and the Crips and all this other stuff, he don't know what to do. Any Mexican gangs or Chinese gangs or Asian gangs, he don't know what to do, right? So he's like, I just want to go back to my bubble. And there's the problem. So how do you fix that? I don't know. I guess, I don't know. But see, for me, like I was telling you, I was blessed and I was lucky enough to have 2 experiences. I started out in the ghetto, then I went to Beverly Hills. You see what I'm saying? And I'm gonna tell you what's funny about this. I actually got complaints. I'm calling it Beverly Hills because I actually got complaints in Beverly Hills because I still had the mentality of the ghetto, right? Do you know who I am? No, I really don't care who you are. I really don't. Just turn around, put your hands behind your back, right? In the ghetto, people don't, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? You don't get that, right? You get foot chases. You gotta stop. That's what you get. But we're in zone 2, Buckhead, you get, do you know who I am? I know Keisha Lance Bottoms and I will call her tomorrow. I know the chief of police. We play golf together. Blah, blah, blah. I really don't care. Great. Just tell them that you got arrested. I'm Officer Thomas. You see what I'm saying? Like, I really don't care. So now you start to get complaints, right? And so it's just dealing with people. I was telling Stephen this. For me, and being in the hood, there are telltale signs of things that's about to happen, right? If you stop a guy, his pants are sagging. If he reaches down and try to pulls up and he start to pull up his pants, he's about to run. You know, it's stuff like that. A white officer. Or fight, right? A white officer, he sees that, this is what he gonna say. Stop reaching. Who's reaching? I'm just pulling up my pants. No, you stop reaching. Bro, chill out with that. Lower your voice. I'm just pulling up my pants. No, you reaching. And if you reach again, see what I'm saying?
The miscommunication. Because white dudes, they wear tight shit. They wear clothes like that.
They don't know the body language.
Right.
Yeah. So but not just the body language, but that ties in with the culture of like in the hood with the more saggy clothes is with hip hop, like everything, right? The culture versus like white culture is just hey, like let me tight ass jeans and show my ass and
Right.
all that stuff. So they'll never have to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So lack of exposure on the cops end of lack of experience. Yeah.
Exposure to seeing that other side. See, I know that, right? And it's funny because if I was in Buckhead and well, I can't even say I ever saw that because I've never seen when I'm dealing with a white guy, him trying to pull up his pants, right? So I never have to say, don't run, right? You know what I'm saying? White people, if they're gonna run, it's a little different, right? They get real fidgety, right? From what I experienced, they get real fidgety, right? Most people do, but they get like overly fidgety, right? It's kind of like they start trying to sidetrack you a little bit. So something is about to transpire. I know that. I know those telltale signs, right? In the hood, people go to pull up their pants, they about to run, right? Something's about to happen. And this, once again, I told you, psychology. I had a way of talking people into handcuffs. Literally, it's like a gift. I could talk you right into handcuffs. The psychology behind this is and they didn't teach me this. This is just me learning it because I'm from the hood. If you get ready to start pulling up your pants, right? They don't know that you know that they're about to run. So this is what I tell them. This is what I told Steven. I look them dead in the eyes and I do like this. I say, if you even think about running, get that thought out your mind. Right then, it's like, what just happened? Did this dude just read my mind? Like, what just happened? Mm-hmm. Right? But see, you learn that stuff. So that's how I de-escalate, you know what I'm saying, a situation. If you think about running, don't even do it. I'm going to start on the track team and I will catch you. And when I catch you, I'm going to kick your ass. That's what I tell them, just like that. Just like that. Right then, it's like, you got it. You got it. You don't want those problems, right? You don't want those problems. But you, in Buckhead, it's totally different. Everybody got a cell phone. Everybody's trying to record it. Do you know who I am? And da-da-da. I really don't care. I really don't care who you are. So I think I can't necessarily say exposure, because if you take a cop out of Beverly Hills and put him in Compton, they might kill somebody the first day. So I don't know if that's the good thing to do. Like, but how do you train an officer in the academy to deal with black people? How do you train an officer in the academy to deal with white people? You see what I'm saying? They train us how to deal with gangs. Certain things you look for, right? Tattoos on the hand, certain things, tattoos on the face, you know, on the neck. Certain things you look for and you say in your mind, you be like, oh shit, they taught me this in the academy. It's probably a gang member, right? So now your tone kind of changes a little because I'm dealing with a gang member. And also, I'm looking around because he probably got some boys that's coming. You understand what I'm saying? So they train you on things like that, but they don't go all the way into MS-13. Like you can't, you know what I'm saying? They can give you, and this is stuff that we learn. We learn about MS-13, all the different gangs we learn, but it's like the tip of the iceberg, right? Because they don't even know everything. You know what I'm saying? So they just kind of give you enough to keep you safe on the street in case you encounter this. You know, it's just things like that. But how do you train an officer to deal with another race? I don't know. But every race is different. That's what I was telling Steven. Everybody is different.
Yeah, and the way that I learned about so many different cultures is because I purposely chose to not just stick with my own community, even though they, like, even in high school, they were inviting me, hey, join the Koreans. But I was like, I don't like that you don't hang out with Koreans. So, you know, my best friends growing up were Black, Mexican, everything. So I understand the different cultures. And I grew up in the suburbs, but I did drugs and then in high school, and then I would go to like hood, like Inglewood and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, what the fuck is this? But then I got used to it. So I got exposed at a younger age to see all that stuff. So that type, and the older you get cemented in your ways, and you're less open-minded to a lot of these type of things. So I really don't think you can teach that in like an academy or to anybody, because I've talked to people, and just we all know this, talking to anybody and trying to get them to open their mind about a specific thing they have strong opinions about. Yeah. It's like it's a losing battle a lot of times. It truly is, unless you're talking to somebody very open-minded. But for the most part, I'm just like, oh, they think the way they think, like, fine. You know? Yeah.
Why did you, I guess I'm curious really quick. Well, I don't know if it's really quick. Why did you join the police force after military? And then how did that, in your community, how was that looked at?
It's funny that you asked that question, because honestly, you know, people, I want to make a change in the community. Oh, I want to do this, and I want to. No, For me, it was a job, and I've always wanted to be a police officer. And I think the reason I wanted to be a police officer is for two reasons. I had a cousin that was, he worked his way up through the ranks, right? He was on SWAT, and he used to come to our house a lot of times, because you're living in Atlanta. He used to come by the house or whatever. He was all suited up. He was a big guy too, suited up, gun and all this other stuff. And I was like, oh man, that's cool. That's really cool, right? So I remember seeing that. And when he leaves, he gets in his patrol card and he pulls. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So and then I think it piqued my interest there. And then I started watching Cops, like most people do. You watching, and I found myself watching Cops every day, like every single day, and everything. And then even when I was in the military, and then outside of the military, the thing was when I was getting out of the military, I could continue my medical, right? I could be a paramedic or something like that. But I had did that for 6 years. So I was like, nah, I don't really want to go into the medical field no more. So I was like, oh, you know what? And most times than not, people that leave the military, they become police officers. I don't know why it happens like that, but they do. Maybe because it's an easy transition, like very easy. Oh, you're prior military? Hired. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's an easy way to get a great job. You know what I'm saying? Like benefits and everything else. So that's why I'm not going to BS and say, oh, I've always wanted to serve the community or whatever. So by the time I became a police and started working, my community, they really didn't, for one, my community had changed, right? So like right now, if you go to, and I was telling y'all, if you go to East Atlanta now, where I'm from, East Atlanta, it's totally different, right? It wasn't like that back in the day. It's totally different now. So that was one thing. A lot of people my age, they moved away, so nobody's there. So nobody really knew I was a police officer. And the area that I was policing was not the area that I grew up in. So a lot of the faces and stuff that I went to school with and stuff, I never saw them. They just saw me on Facebook. It was kind of like, oh, you're a police officer now? Like, yeah, I'm a police officer. Oh, where you working at? Oh, I'm in zone 1. Oh, yeah, you over there on Bankhead. That type of thing. So, I mean, it really wasn't looked down because, like, my parents and stuff, like, they took care of me. They, be in the house, go to street lights. Come on. Like, I had them type parents, because I was in the ghetto. They want to keep me safe. So I had to be, in the house. I don't want you playing with this person. This person has, I don't like their morals. I don't like their values. I don't want you to play with them. So that's kind of how I grew up. Wasn't necessarily sheltered, but I was surrounded literally by everything. But my parents, they kept me, close to them. So yeah.
So when you were growing up in the hood, did you have what was your outlook on police? I know you wanted to be one, but were you always just like, I respect them, like, because
always respected the police, always respect. And it could have been because of my cousin that I've always respected the police, and that's what I try to instill into people now. There's two ways to deal with any police interaction. Police pull you over. I mean, you can sit here and rah 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 rah, or yes officer, no officer, knowing your rights. And that's the end of the business, because it's like a business interaction. If you walk into Macy's, are you going to go in there yelling and demanding stuff? No, you're going to be polite and cordial. So what's different with a police officer? And a lot of times that goes in, I ain't going to say a lot of times, more times than not, that goes in your favor. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I walk up to your car and you're sitting there, rah, 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 first of all, you telling me right now that I don't respect you. You don't respect me. What you pulling me over? You got better things to be doing. You're right, but I'm pulling you over right now. So let's move past that. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be pulling you over right now, but you've done something to get my attention. So now I'm dealing with you right now. So you see how right then you have already taken me from, hey, I'm Officer Thomas with the Atlanta Police Department, to rah, 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 to you're right. You shouldn't have ran the stop sign. Do you have your license? You see what I'm saying? So now when I go back to the car, guess what? You're going to get a ticket. So, but people, I don't know. People don't.
So do you think, I mean, with all this, right? I mean, obviously there's a narrative, and obviously I don't know what it's like to walk in your shoes, both in law enforcement and, as a Black person. So do you feel like there's this systemic racism within law enforcement, if we're sticking to that kind of subject?
Mhm.
Or do you think there's, you mentioned while you're talking that, yeah, there are racist police officers, just like there are racist doctors or lawyers or whoever, right? But from, I guess, where your vantage point and having been in the hood, I think you mentioned in our conversations, you've had, police officers take down somebody for drugs in front of your own lawn, etc. I mean, what's your perspective?
No, I don't think that the racism is pretty much an issue in the police departments. I really don't. I honestly don't.
At least from Atlanta, right? Because you're I mean, just
Yeah. For Atlanta, I don't think so. Because that kind of goes back to what I said. No officer wants to shoot nobody. No officer wants to do this. I don't think that that's the issue. What I think wholeheartedly what the issue is dealing with the police, dealing with the public. I think that's the whole issue. And now that I think back on it, yeah, we did have customer service skills. Like that's part of the training academy. Customer service, believe it or not, you're going through customer service. How do you talk to someone? How do you interact with somebody? Right? But that goes back to what I just said. I mean, if you escalate it, then I'm gonna escalate it, But now here's that problem. If I'm a Black man and you're a white officer and I'm escalating it, how do you bring this Black man back down? How do you bring him back down? How do you keep him? He's on 10 right now. How do you bring him back down to 1 or 0? And I think that is what a lot of officers lack. So now you get into a yelling match. But I'm a police. I'm not finna sit here and keep yelling with you, right? So I'm gonna take out my ass baton. And if you charge at me, I'm just gonna hit you with it, right? And if you take this, I'm gonna shoot you. I'm not finna keep sitting here going back and forth with you. You see what I'm saying? So it's like that is where that breakdown is right there. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's racist cops. Yeah, it's racist cops. It's racist everybody. But I think the breakdown is how do you deal the customer service? How do you deal with, you got to be a manager. You got to be a manager. Here we go. I'm going to hit y'all with it. You got to be an employee at Chick-fil-A, right? You got to be an employee at Chick-fil-A, right? Because Chick-fil-A, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. You see what I'm saying? Like, you got to be, that's what you got to do, right? But you don't. You an employee somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that's the thing. You have to be able to know how to control the situation and know who you're dealing with.
And you know what? I think, at least from my experience, what I've learned as stand-up comedian and all this, I have to read people. And a lot of times where I was able to not just in comedy world, but in life, de-escalate things is addressing what's going on and addressing what they may potentially be thinking is going on, but it's really not going on that way. And sometimes, even if it is going on that way, by you addressing it, it's like, okay, he knows, so it's all right. So for instance, like I stopped this one dude that he was a gangbanger from fucking up these white dudes, right? And I took him to the side. I was like, hey man, he was ready to fuck them up, and I was like, hey man, look, they're stupid. They don't know what they're thinking, man. They're dumb. They're stupid ass dudes, and you could fuck their ass up. You already know that. Don't even waste your time. And what if they call the cops on you, and then you go back to jail? It's not even worth it, man. Like they're pussies, man. They're pussies. They're fucking losers. Like talking like that. And then he's like, no, you're right. Or like people in comedy. People weren't really laughing, and I was like, it's fucking cold in here. The air conditioning's like stupid cold. I feel uncomfortable, so let me bring that up right away. So when I got up on and had the microphone, I said, it's fucking cold in here. It doesn't feel good. Maybe that's why you guys aren't feeling that great. I don't know, but that's what I feel. And they were like, yeah, they're like a wash of relief. Like, oh, that's why. And some of them probably didn't even realize that's why they feel uncomfortable. they feel it unconsciously. They're like, they go with it, just like, oh, I don't feel good. Or maybe it's because of that guy. But you address it, and they're like, oh, it is probably because of the air condition, right? So, right. Yeah.
Right.
Well,
in the police department, and y'all can Google this. You can actually Google this. They teach you this verbal judo. That's all it is. Remember, I told you I had a way of talking someone into handcuffs because I'm cordial like that. Like, before you know it, you're in the back seat of the car, and now you're trying to recount what happened. How did I get here? Like, what happened? Like, I just remember him asking me, "Was this my current address?" And then now I'm here. Like, it's verbal judo. That is part of de-escalating a situation, right? You don't necessarily, as an officer, you don't necessarily have to believe what you're saying, right? You don't necessarily have to. Let me use an example. Okay, all this white officer and black officer, all this white officer and black officer, white officer killing unarmed black men and all this other stuff. It's like you as a comedian, you use that as talking points, right? You use that because now, if the person feels like you sympathize with them, like you totally sympathize, bro, listen, why did you run through the red light? My mom died. Now I'm gonna tell you, this is really heartless, but this is for the podcast, right? My mom died. You know, I got a lot on my mind. I give two shits about your mama. I don't know your mama, but guess what? I'm gonna sympathize with you, all while I'm writing you this ticket. You see what I'm saying? Like, you signing this ticket, you're gonna really feel like, man, he's only doing this because he has to do it. Not because he don't care about my mama and he don't care about how my day went. Or nothing. He's really doing this because this is just what he has to do. That's how I used to like leading people. I don't want you to think that I'm picking on you or anything like that. Never picked on anyone, but I don't want that thought in your mind. This is why. It's possible for you to run up on me in the streets in plain clothes. Right? It's possible for you to get out of jail and you're up in the street in plain clothes, like someone did. I was at Walgreens, a drugstore. Had on sweatpants, t-shirt, kind of like this, just chilling. This guy came on, Officer Thomas. I was like, oh shit, right? I was like, oh shit. I didn't want to turn around. I was just like this right here, right? So, but everybody made me uncomfortable because they looking at me, right? And I'm like, what you looking at me for, right? So finally, I turned around. He was like, Officer Thomas. I was like, what's up? And he was like, you know, and I'm already taking my stance, right? Because I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know this guy. I don't remember him, right? You don't remember me, do you? I was like, no, I don't. All while he was approaching me, right? He was like, you arrested me on such and such for some, I had some weed, whatever. By now, we're standing just like this, face to face. I'm like, oh shit. So I'm like, this is exactly what I said. This is exactly what I said to him. Oh yeah, I do remember you. I don't remember this dude for nothing, right? Oh yeah, I do remember you. He stuck out his hand. Man, I just want to thank you. That was the best thing you ever done for me. Right? You see what I'm saying? And I was like, I'm glad. Everything is good with you? Yeah, everything is good, man. Me and my baby mama got better together. You know, she running me crazy. Walking on out the store. That's how I used to interact with people. You see what I'm saying? Like
energy, good energy.
Right.
They feel it.
White, black, yellow, pink, whatever. I didn't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, now, don't get this twisted. I ain't no bitch, right? Yeah. So you ain't gonna just tell me something and just do something. I'm just gonna be like, oh, okay. No, because I done put these hands on a lot of people, right? I done put these hands on a lot of people. But it's because they put me there. Once again, like I just said, I ain't had no choice, right? They put me there. But starting out our conversation, I'm gonna give you what you give me. You know what I'm saying? If we want to stay like this, we're gonna stay like this. I used to tell people this all the time, and the other officers that was with me, they knew this was my code. When I'm about to put my hands on you, when I'm literally about to put my hands on you, this is my code, and everybody else knew it, right? It was like, they used to make fun of me, like, man, Thomas got a code. Thomas, anytime you hear it, well, you better get ready. And it's true. This is what I tell people. I say, listen, ma'am, sir, you going from 0 to 100 real fast. Right then, it's already other people, my other officers, they on alert. They say, yeah, he about to put his hands on somebody, right? Ma'am, sir, you going to, listen, calm down. You going to 0, look, you going to 100 real fast. Just calm down. I may hit him with it maybe once more. Listen, You at 100. I'm at 0 right now. Ah! On the ground you go. You see what I'm saying? Like, and they know it. Other officers, they know it. That was my thing. That was my code. I tell people, but they don't know it. But psychologically, I'm telling them, hey, listen, bring it down, right? Like, my job is to restore peace and order. You yelling, you're creating a scene right now. I can't have that. So bring it down. And if you don't, I'm gonna bring you down. You see what I'm saying? Like, hey, put your hands behind your back. You don't want to do it? I'm gonna make you do it. Hey, get in the car. You don't want to do it? I'm gonna make you do it. I done threw plenty of people in the car. I done snatched plenty of people out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I asked you first, right? Then I tell you, then I make you, right? That's how it is. I ask, tell, make. That's how it is.
And well, we chatted a little bit, and this goes to the human part. I think that you wanted to also talk about, right? Which is we're all humans, and outside of law enforcement or any, we see it all the time, everywhere. It doesn't matter what race you are, how old you are. If anybody raises their voice at anybody, we all respond, and we all know how that feels internally when somebody like you're trying to be calm, and the other person takes it up a notch.
Right.
Internally, you have this feeling like, am I supposed to defend? Am I supposed to, do I raise my voice up too to try to bring them back down?
Right.
We all experience this in marriage, right? As well, in our relationships, right? Things can escalate really quick when they don't have to.
Right.
If you don't know how to either de-escalate it, or if the other party who is responsible for raising their voice doesn't choose to bring it back down as well, right? So, you know, my dad always said it takes two to tango, and you know, you could be stepping on the other person's foot, and after that, they're stepping on your foot, and it just gets worse and worse,
and
right?
You just keep going back and forth. My dick is bigger. No, my dick is bigger, and then you're fighting now. Everybody is fighting. But yeah, I mean, that's to what you just said. That's very true. Like, everybody is human, even police officers, and I think people get this misconception, and it is true to a certain point, but I think they get this misconception that officers supposed to be able to, I guess you can say, de-escalate every situation and have a thick skin and let things roll off. Yes, that is true to a certain point, but I'm not gonna stay here and let you verbally abuse me. Nothing in that says that. Nothing in when I sign and say I'm being a police officer that you got to stand here and verbally abuse me. Like, you're not gonna do that, because here's the thing. You are verbally abusing me. You're all loud and you're irate and you're cursing and everything else, right? But there's a little kid over there that's actually hearing this. So now you're disturbing the peace. You see what I'm saying? So, and listen, I need you to lower your voice. No, I'm not gonna lower my voice. And blah, blah, you come over here harassing me, blah, 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 and I ain't doing that. I'm trying to have this peaceful event and blah, 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 blah. Sorry, listen, I totally get all that. I totally get all. But, and I say this, but I'm here for a reason. I wasn't just driving by and say, hey, I'm gonna come over here and mess with you. You see my tone. You see how I'm talking. Hey, yeah, but sir, am I yelling at you? So you ain't gotta yell at me. What are you yelling at me? You mad at me? What you mad at me for? Right? I'm just doing my job. That's how I talk to people, right? You keep yelling, sir, lower your voice. So now my tone has changed, right? No, whatever. Okay, listen, we're gonna do this 1-2 ways. Either you're gonna lower your voice, or I'm gonna make you lower your voice. See what I'm saying? Now we're escalating it now. So if you keep doing it, guess what? I'm gonna hold up to what I said. I'm gonna make you lower your voice. Look, you can yell and scream, but ain't nobody gonna be able to hear you because you're gonna be in the backseat of my car with the windows up with a little crack in it like this. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you wanna keep screaming, go ahead. But you're gonna be screaming out here by yourself, and I'm gonna be in the front seat sitting here doing this report, and you're gonna go to jail. So I mean, you know, that's just how
it reminds me of either a teacher student type of relationship. I was that kid that disturbed the class when I was a kid. Or a parent, regardless of whether the parent is right or wrong, when the child starts talking back or whatever, you know, they're gonna,
And a lot of kids, and kids are stubborn. Not just kids, but humans, adults especially, are stubborn. So as soon as he raised his voice a bit, there's probably a part of him that was like, I should probably stop this. But he's like, people are watching. I'm not a bitch. I got to stick to this and keep going. So that could be a possible thing. But even if that's a thing that's going on in their head, what they have to do is understand this is a fucking police officer who has a lot of police officers have power, and you got to respect and understand that, because like you were saying, you don't have to 100% agree with how you interact with them, but you do it to de-escalate it, to just keep things cordial. Like, for instance, all the times I got pulled over, I've had some bad experiences, but I understand when any man has that level of power, they want to know, they have power. So I'll be like, yeah, yes, sir. And inside I'm like, man, fuck you. But I'm like, yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Thank you, sir. I don't mean that shit, but I know that's what they want.
Here's the thing with that, and I think I told y'all before. It boggles my mind that people like create if the officer is not creating it, right? We'll keep it like that. It boggles my mind. Which
happens.
Right. Because right. Sometimes the officers escalate it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and look, I've seen that on the police department.
It's happened to me.
Look, listen, you be like, radio, send me another unit. When she tell you, or the person tell you coming, you be like, oh shit, I don't want that person to come, right? It happens. It really does. You like, I want somebody else other than. Then when they get there, they jump out the car. What's going on? You be like, listen, bro, listen.
Calm down.
Listen, right. Don't worry about it. I got it. Don't worry about it. It happens, right? It really does. So what I don't understand is, if that's not the case, I've never understood why someone would, and I'm gonna say this, but I don't necessarily mean it like this, like mouth off. I don't understand why somebody would mouth off and make an officer's job harder than what it is because of this. They have an ink pen, which I think in most cases is more powerful than that gun. And they have a gun. They have two things that are so powerful, but nobody thinks about it like that. And I think the pen is more powerful than the gun. Because if I say you done it, you done it. If I write it down, you done it. All I got to do now is just, even if I'm lying, all I got to do is come to court and just testify and say, yes, you did do it. Think about it, though. The way the law is, who you think the judge is going to believe? Like real talk. Like, let's just be real for a second. Who do you think the judge is going to believe? I have Steve and I have Mike sitting here saying, oh, I didn't do that. I didn't do it. But I say you did, right? Not only that, and I think I told y'all this, it's all about articulation. If I can articulate both of y'all doing what y'all did, what y'all gonna do? Oh, I didn't do it. Okay, well, Mike, it says right here that when the officer arrived, you had the brick in your hand. Stephen, it says right here when the second officer arrived that you had, what's this? Look like a can of gas. No, I didn't have it. But you got this other officer say you did. I'm saying you did. Who do you think they're gonna believe? But now let's rewind all of that. But you would sit here and be like, man, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, all right, hold tight for me. I'm just gonna say, it's like writing a story. It really is. And it's sad to say it, because that goes back to Mike, what you were saying about so much power. That pen. Everybody said, oh, the gun. No, think about that pen. Listen, speed limit 35, right? Watch this. I can say that you were going 40. Or, this is a pen. I ain't even pulled out my gun. Or, I can say you was doing 85. That's a super speeder. Right? I can say that. I really can. Like, who gonna tell me that you wouldn't? You gonna go get a lawyer? You gonna go spend $4,000 or $5,000, $6,000 for a lawyer? Really? You got that money like that? But everybody says, oh, the gun. No, it's the pen. If I write it down and say you slap your wife, you slap your wife. Right? If I say you did this, you done it. So that goes back to Mike, what you were saying about power. There is a lot of power in that pen, no matter what I write. If I write it, you done it. Now you got to try to prove that you didn't do it. Right? So you're right. It is a lot of power. It's a lot of power.
Yeah, the police are the ones that have the receipts. they have the receipts for the purchase, and
Right.
then if you don't have the receipt for the purchase, like the police could be the seller, and then the buyer's like, well, I did, like I want to return it. It's like, but you don't have the receipt.
But you don't have a receipt.
Yeah, so
Right.
what
You ain't got a receipt. You ain't got a receipt. You don't. You're absolutely right. I never thought about that analogy, but you're absolutely right.
You know why I thought
Like,
that? Because I tried to return a $3,000 MacBook, which is fucking stupid of me to buy, and then I shipped it through FedEx, authorized FedEx shipping center, and the motherfuckers lost it.
Yeah. See?
They lost it.
Look, and they hit you with it. Well, unfortunately.
Yeah. And
Like,
I got a receipt, bitch.
yeah. Right. Right.
You guys
Right.
fucked up.
And I think now what everybody's receipt is now is their video cam, their recording stuff. That's their receipt now, right? Is it against the law to record? No, it's not. But in most states, and I think I know Georgia, you can record all day long, right? You can record. But when you interfere with me doing my job, now you're interfering. I don't care if you record, but now you're interfering, right? If I'm interacting with you, Mike, just like this, and Steven come up from the side, right? He comes up from the side, and this is me and you right here, and Steven is all like this right here. Now you're interfering. I don't care, because look, I don't know if y'all know each other. You might be sitting here but you secretly pulling out a pistol and you finna shoot me with it. So what I tell you to do is, I do not care if you record. That is your right. Just back up for me. No, man, I'm gonna record. Look, watch this now. Ooh, you don't like this, do you? You don't like, right? You are interfering now. So this is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna grab this and your phone, and you're going down to the ground. I don't care if you record. You're just interfering. Just back up and record. You can hit your zoom. You can zoom, right? But you ain't got to be right here in my face. You know what I'm saying? Because I need room. In case if I got to run, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need you right here. So yeah, but this is everybody's receipt now. And I tell people all the time, like, yeah, great, record. If you get pulled over, record it. Or, if you don't record it, if you don't record it, if the officer say, hey, you have your license, be cordial. Be cordial, because chances are that traffic stop is going to go the way you want it. You see what I'm saying? But if you sit here and you're all, you're not doing anything but escalating it. And at the end of the day, he has power.
And you know what? That ties in with cops being human, because humans in general are just really bad at knowing themselves and what makes them tick, and if they are under like high level of stress or anxiety. They don't really know, but they feel it and they just react. That's, I would say, over 90% of adults out there, humans in general, right? And that's why I think keeping that in mind also helps. That also helped me be like, well, I don't know, this dude could be like on edge, and if I say something even just a little bit off, he might go off on me or make shit worse. So if I just, essentially in a man's eyes, be a bitch, then it'll make it smoother. And this is what I was actually thinking. Well, I mean, but we should still know our rights. But so you said there's therapy post shooting for the cop if they shoot somebody, right? But is there therapy for cops that haven't done that? Because there's
there is therapy for cops. And a lot of times the city pays for it. Well, I'm saying the city because the city of Atlanta, the city pays for it. Like, there's a therapist on standby. If you feel like, hey, I don't feel like coming into work today, I'm dealing with a lot of stuff, I'm going through a divorce. That's what I'm saying. People are human. I'm going through a divorce right now. I don't feel like I can do a just service to the citizen, whatever. I need to call out tonight. I need to go and speak to somebody. Yes, there are counselors set up for that. It's just up to you whether you go or not. But here's the thing about that. A lot of times officers don't want to go because they feel like that's going to get back to their precincts and all this other stuff. Now they crazy. You see what I'm saying? So, but it's not, because it's just like right now, if you go to a therapist, everything is confidential, everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to tell you, unless you say, I'm going to kill everybody in Atlanta, you know what I'm saying? Then, yeah, they're going to tell everybody and you going to jail, right? But other than that, everything is confidential. If you tell me I'm killing myself, of course, that's not confidential, right? But it's just like a regular therapist, but it is available. But a lot of officers, they don't want to go because they just feel like, and I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be transparent. When I went through my divorce, I actually went. That's why I gave the divorce as an example. Because you're going through a divorce, it's a lot of shit on your mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a lot of stuff in my mind. Last thing I want is trying to pull somebody over. Because I know right now, as soon as I walk up to this car and they get loud with me, it's going to be a problem. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
As soon as they get loud with me, it's going to be a problem. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to try to find every charge to charge them with. So guess what? Let me just call out tonight. Let me go on over here, set this appointment up and talk to this person. Tell them what I'm going through, or whatever, and they'll help you. They'll write it down, medical requirement. Hey, I don't think he should come back to work for, maybe a week or so like that. Take vacation, that type of thing. They won't say he's sick in the head, like he's gonna kill everybody. He don't need to come to work. It'd be like, we recommend, take, and see, from that point, it don't go to your precinct. From that point, whatever that doctor writes, it goes to the chief of police, right? The chief now tells your command, says, hey, Officer Thomas gonna go ahead and take an early, vacation, whatever, about like a week off, blah, blah, whatever. They don't know what's going on. They're gonna be like, okay. And now you just sit at home, decompress, and get your thoughts together and come back to work. So yeah, it is available.
But because a lot of police feel like, because they're so afraid of losing their jobs if people were to find out about them going to therapy.
Or stigma.
Yeah, the stigma of it too.
Yeah.
I can see how that could lead to feeling like the whole world is against them, essentially, just because they can't be open. They can't be themselves 100. And that adds to like this pent up pressure of just like, the soda can being shaken up. You can't release it at all. Like, I can't take, like, what the fuck, right? Because the average human, the average civilian who doesn't do, who's not a policeman or a military, who doesn't have to put their life on the line every day, they go through fucking so much shit mentally, and they'll even off themselves just because of an office job, because they don't know, or like family stuff, because they don't know how to work through that stuff, right? So I can only imagine what it's like with all that added pressure of. So what would you do? What did you do when you're a police officer to alleviate some of that that pent up shit that was just like always like building up every day?
Talk to like family and stuff. Like when I say family, you have close friends and stuff. A lot of times talking to other officers, because this kind of goes right into, being deployed to Iraq and coming back. Yeah, you can talk to your wife about it. She don't know what it's like because she's never been there. You see what I'm saying? So you talk to other people. You talk to people that would do it like this. Magic. If I'm having issues in Magic, guess what? I'm gonna reach out to Steven. You know what I'm saying? Because Steven, I ain't gonna talk to my wife because she ain't gonna understand. She don't understand that I'm trying to do this double lift and it ain't working. You know what I'm saying? How do you do your double lift?
Just
You do your double lift. You know what I'm saying? Like, so she's not gonna understand that. So you talk to people that can relate to you and what's going on. And if that don't help, then yeah, by all means, it's therapy. Just talk to people. Because you see a lot of stuff. You hear a lot of stuff. You see dead people. You see. As a police officer, here's the thing. You see people at their worst. Like, at their worst. Like, worst. You see parents that done beat kids. You see burn marks on kids. You see black eyes. You see dog bites. You see houses where it's piles of filth, roaches, rats, mice. You see dead people. You see, I went to this call one time. This kid shot himself. Bam, shot himself, right? And this, it like really hit home to me because I was like, oh, this is crazy. Like, this is crazy. So he's sitting on the couch. He's dead. In his hand is his cell phone, still in his hand. His freaking girlfriend is calling.
Oh.
Right, but he dead.
Yeah.
She not realizing, and I think he had been sending text messages saying that he's gonna do it, right? But she not realizing that he ain't gonna never answer. He dead, right? So imagine that. Imagine you see a teenage kid blew his brains out, and in his hand is his cell phone, still clutched in his hand, just like this. And on there, he has this like little love baby mama or whatever. So it's somebody close to him, somebody special telling him, hey, don't do it. Talk to me. But he is dead. Like, for you to just sit there and look at that, it's like you put life into perspective. It's like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, but guess what? When I went home, I clocked out and went home. You see what I'm saying? Like, but that memory is still here. So now when I lay down at night, I'm like, damn, this motherfucker just really killed himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, why? Like, why didn't he talk to somebody? Why did he do that? So you see people at their worst. You see people, going through their baby moms and baby dads and the kids, and she got him on child support, and I'm on my way to kill this bitch now. You see what I'm saying? Like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Hold tight. Come talk to me. As a police officer, you actually kind of become a counselor. Like, you'll become a counselor. Like I said, you got somebody on the bridge. I don't know who it is. Somebody's on this bridge. I don't know if they about to jump. So y'all might want to come over here and look. I'll be the first officer responding. This never happened. But I'll be the first officer responding. I'm like, oh shit, he really is on the bridge. This dude is about to jump, right? He's really about to kill himself. Who else is there? I'm the police. It's me and him. I got to do something. My job is to preserve life. I got to do something. I don't know what you're going through. Man, my mom just died. Oh shit. Okay, my mama's still living, right? So how am I supposed to say, bro, I know exactly what you're going through. My mama just died last week. I can lie to him. You see what I'm saying? Like, so now we're counselors, but people don't look at it like that. It's a lot of burden. It really is. Now, people watching this, they're going to be like, well, you signed up for it. You damn right. You're absolutely right. You did, right? You signed up for it. But like you just said, it's like the soul can. It's only so much you can take, right? Because you're seeing people at their worst. Now imagine if I'm sitting here and I'm trying to talk to this dude, I'm radio, please send another unit real fast. Okay, sir, listen, I just need you to talk to me. Just keep talking to me. And radio is trying to talk to you and telling you, what's going on? Bitch, don't worry about it. Just get somebody here now. Get everybody. Call Superman. Somebody. Get somebody here. Because this dude is about to jump. You don't understand. Because she's sitting in the office, right? And just typing. She don't know what's going on. But I'm physically looking at this dude. He ain't there. He ain't there, radio. I need somebody now. I need a trampoline out there. I need something. Because this dude is about to jump. Well, what's going on? Radio, please just get somebody here. All while I'm talking to him. He don't know what's going on. What are you doing? You calling back up? No, don't have no other officers come out here. Oh shit. Okay. No. It's just me and you. It's just me. She asking you questions, right? You got the answer. So no, it's just me and you. Listen. Okay, think about a good memory. Have you ever had some good memory? Yes, radio. Please get somebody out here now. Please, right? Stop asking these questions because I'm trying to keep this dude from killing himself. But all of a sudden he jumped. Right? So now I'm like, the fuck? But guess what? At the end of my 8 hours, I clock out and go home. You see what I'm saying? So it's stuff. You respond to, this never happened to me. I'm just talking about stuff that was in the news. You respond to a scene and you got a 13, I think 13, 12, 10, a 10-year-old child wrapped up in a trash bag in a trash can set on fire. And y'all Google it. I want to say, I think that happened here. Yeah, that did happen here. I can't think of the name. I'll send y'all the link for it though. But it was a stepmom and a dad, and it happened in Georgia. You just Google that, burn her in the trash can, it'll come straight up because she's on death row now. The mom is on death row, and I think the stepdad, they testified against it. It was a real big case here in Atlanta. Y'all Google that. So, but guess what? An officer had to respond to that. Imagine you going, open trash can burn, you open the lid, and it's a hand sticking out. A little hand, right? So you're like, oh shit, but I got kids. You see what I'm saying? So now, guess what you want to do? You want to choke the shit out of the mom, out of the dad. Did y'all really do this to y'all child? But you can't. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? 8 hours, I clock out and I go home. So it is a lot of stuff. It is. We got to be everybody. We got to be a counselor. We got to be the fire department. We got to be medical. We got to be everybody. We got to be your best friend. We got to be your mama. We got to be your daddy. We got to be everybody. We got to be the police. We got to be the park ranger. We got to be everybody.
Damn. Because
this goes to that the topic right now, or what's about police reform, but one of the conversations around defunding police. Which is a little bit of a misnomer when people talk about it, right? Because it's not like necessarily stripping the department of money, but reallocating it because of all those hats that you guys are expected to, or the police officer, not you anymore, but police officers are expected to do. I mean, what are your thoughts about that? Where people are
as long
propose...
as that money goes to different training, I'm good for it. Like if it's, hey, we're going to do training on crisis intervention, right? What happens? She got the knife and she about to cut his throat because she tired of him coming in late. She knows he's sleeping with somebody else. What do? How do you talk that knife out of her hand? Do you just pull your gun out and shoot her? You know what I'm saying? Like, you shoot her dead? Because now he's finna be destroyed, right? Because now he gonna come at you. Seriously, listen to this. She got a knife, you pull your gun out and shoot her. They were just arguing. But guess what? That's why they always say the most dangerous call for a police officer is a domestic. Because they like this. They are like this, right? But then when you get there, who the hell are you? Now both of them are on teams and now they teaming up against you, right? Because we gonna work this out. This my baby mom. This my baby. We finna work this out. We don't need you. Who called you? Well, your neighbor. Because
now they're mad at the neighbor.
Now they mad at the neighbor, right? So they mad at everybody. So now she pulls out a knife. This never happened to me. But these are our scenarios. She pull out a knife, right? Get the fuck out of my house. But you have a legal reason to be there, right? Get the fuck out of my house. And she start coming towards you. Boom, boom, boom. You drop her. What is he gonna do? Oh my God, you just killed. No, now he's on the attack. So now he picks up another knife or a pot or a pan, whatever. You shoot and kill him. Fox News. You see what I'm saying? Fox News, like, what do you do? What should the officer have done? Ran, So as long as that money goes to helping officers, right? Helping officers cope with things, helping officers with more training, with like we was talking about earlier, culture training, You're dealing with a black person, you're dealing with a white person, you're dealing with an Asian person. Like everybody different. Everybody's background is different. As long as the money goes to that, I'm all for it. But I think what about the proposal? Well, what I've heard is proposal is essentially directing them to like social services, and then I don't know somebody had mentioned this to me, where it's almost like instead of the police officer showing up, there's a social worker that shows up or is coming alongside the police officer. And that's the thing. As like a ride along, even if it's a social worker with a ride along, now you have, as an officer, you have another responsibility. So now you're trying to protect your life, you're trying to preserve their life and protect the social worker. It's too much stuff going on. It's too much stuff going on right now. I'm already fighting for my life. It's now I got to try to sit here and fend for you. Or if they allow you to carry a gun, now you got 7 guns in one situation. It's the Wild Wild West. It's the OK Corral out here. So no, I don't agree with that. And I don't agree with if they're saying get rid of the police department altogether. I think that's the dumbest thing. Because here's why. And I think you said having a social worker and not the police show up. Let's just think about that for a second. Somebody just broke in my house or whatever, and I call 911 and don't nobody answer. A social worker show up. Hey, can I help y'all work through your problem? Like, no, I need the police. That's just like you saying, I'm gonna get rid of the fire department. Your house just caught on fire. What are y'all gonna do? Get buckets of water and try to put it out?
Yeah, like, they're trained for that specific thing.
Right. Police officers are trained to police, right? That's what they're trained to do. They're trained to police. How you get rid of, that's martial law, right? Now the military starts to take over. So, but look, even still, the military don't know laws like California law. You know what I'm saying? Like their laws are totally different, right? Their laws are totally, because it's military laws. It's totally different. I'm in the National Guard. You know what I'm saying? Like what I know is totally different. So you got me showing up and this person is clearly telling me that they slap somebody, right? Military might be quick to say, okay, well, you're going to jail. Yeah, but you hadn't heard the other side of the story. The reason I slapped her is because she did X, Y, and Z. Oh, well, I didn't know that. So police officers are trained to find the facts, right? To find the fact in a situation. That's why you question a lot. We do a lot of talking. You question a lot. You ask the same question over and over, but you may ask it different. So to get rid of the police altogether, nah, that ain't going. And if that happens, hey, I'm going to Canada.
Didn't recently? I think in, is it Minneapolis right now? I forget. Because it just kind of ran through. I think that's the proposal, is to get rid of the police there. But
yeah, and if that's the case, that's what I'm saying. If that's the case, I feel sorry for them. I'm going to Canada. I'll move to Canada. I'll move to Alaska. I'm going somewhere. like France. I don't know. I'm going somewhere. I don't know, because that's going to be a recipe for a dangerous world. You think about it. Ain't no police. Let's just think about that for a second. Right now, there is no police. Whether the police are bad or good, it ain't none. Right? Imagine. Think about California. Imagine right now a world with no police. That's a problem. Crime is going to be running rampant.
I'd even think about stealing shit too. I'm like, well, I guess I could get away with that because that's there. I would think about it.
Right.
I would.
Right. Who gonna lock you up? Ain't nobody coming. Yeah. Right? Ain't nobody. Imagine that. You call 911 and nobody answers on the other end. Like that's a problem. That's a problem. That's why I say if that's the case, and I can't believe that Americans are even thinking about that. Like, really? No, let's train these police officers. Let's send them through more training, right? Let's hold them to a higher standard. If we're about to prosecute somebody, that is what you do. You don't just get rid of the police altogether. Should police be held to a higher standard? Yes, they should be held to a higher standard more than Mike. You should be held to a higher standard. Like we'll just say I'm a police officer. I should be held to a higher standard way more than both of y'all. So if I'm doing something, I should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. That saying should be true. The fullest.
If you abuse your power, etc. Right? If it was intentionally abusing your power.
Exactly. What did Thor Daddy tell him? Thor Daddy, he said, with great power comes
great responsibility.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's Uncle Ben.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, so yeah, it's true. But you got these officers doing things, and it's clearly wrong, and they're getting off because they call it under color of law. That's what they call it. Oh, he was undercover. No, he literally just murdered this dude, right? Like, yeah. So
yeah. Well, which goes into now the other topic about police reform, right? So, which you kind of touched on. So you're for, let's say, police reform or that conversation of that, and I think you and I talked about like certain aspects of it, and you just touched on it.
Yeah,
about hiding behind the law.
I think I'm for police reform when it deals with like training. Because, well, like I was saying before, racist cops is this many. It's this many of racist cops, right? It's not many. They're out there, right? They're embedded. They're out there. But here's the thing. If you hold, this is how I feel about it. I think about things from a logical way. If you hold officers to a higher standard, and if they do something, then they will be prosecuted like to the fullest extent. Those racist cops that are out there, they're gonna weed themselves out. You ain't got to worry about. They're gonna weed themselves out because guess what? They're gonna do something stupid, and they're gonna be sitting in an electric chair. Like real talk, they're gonna do something stupid, and guess what's gonna happen to the next racist cop? That was his buddy. They ain't doing that shit. I'm definitely not doing it. But they just fired Billy Bob over here. I'm not like not fired, fried him. I'm not doing that. So you start cracking down on that. The bad apples are gonna weed themselves out. It's logic. It's gonna happen, right? Unfortunately, some more people gonna have to die. You know what I'm saying? Like because that's how you. Unfortunately, but that's how you're gonna have to weed them out. Let this other officer kill somebody, and he's found guilty, right? Let's not make him guilty of a lesser charge. No, let's hold him to the highest of the highest extent of the law and fry his ass. Guess what's gonna happen, right? Somebody else, the other people in the department, they ain't gonna do it. That's how you start keeping people in line.
Or at least his behavior is in check because of the fear of.
Exactly.
And so it's the same method against citizens, right? It's a deterrent.
Right.
You have the law, and you have the ability to prosecute, and hopefully that's a deterrent to at least
Right. But see,
change behavior.
A lot of officers. I'm not gonna say all of them, but. Some officers, we ain't gonna say a lot. Some officers feel like that they are above the law, right? And goes back to what I said. They feel like if they can articulate, which means write a nice story, everything will be fine. Everything will go away. So now it goes, Mike, what you were saying. They start to abuse their power, right? So now if they get caught, now it's, well, read my story. I wrote a great story, read it. And then when you're reading it, you're like, oh, yeah, I see why you done it. And then they end up getting off and they're back out on the streets and they're doing it again, right? So I feel like if the repercussions were strict for like behavior and stuff like that, given what's going on in the world now, it wouldn't be doing things wouldn't be happening the way they are. But here's the flip side to that. When you prosecute, going back to our first beginning of this session, when you prosecute an officer for literally doing his job, this dude fired a taser at him. So yes, I shot and killed him. I told y'all I would have done the same thing. Yes, I shot and killed him. But now you got this dude in prison, and the max he could face, he's not gonna get it, but the max is death. They could actually put him to death for this. Are you serious? This dude world changed just like that. Imagine what his family's going through. Or what about Rashard Brooks? What about his family? Listen, I don't care who listens. Screw that. If you didn't assault the police officer, if you didn't steal their taser, and if you didn't shoot the taser at them, then you wouldn't be in this position. You wouldn't be. And it'd be pissing me off because I see all of these GoFundMes. Don't raise $1.2 million. For what? For someone that assaulted a police officer? That's bullshit. But that's the world that we in right now. But nobody talks about that. You know what I'm saying? Nobody talks about that. You got this dude sitting in jail, and I've talked to another officer that actually knows this officer. Right? He actually knows him. Not a racist bone in his body. Not a racist bone, but that's how they spin it. But unfortunately, given the nature of the world, he has gotten caught up in something by default. He's literally a test dummy by default. And I think that is so wrong. So wrong.
Yeah, I think there's a little too much, just in general in the world right now. There's too much us versus them mentality. Yeah. You know, too many opponents, too many just like black or white. Where's the middle ground? Where's the outside context? Where's all the rest of the colors?
Perspective,
that, right?
Yeah. And that's
the perspective of things, which is why I'm glad that you came on the podcast to share your perspective and your experiences and what you see from your angle and what you've gone through. Because I think people need to know. Now, I'm not saying everybody listening to this has to agree, but hearing other people speak their truth is a necessity for us as humanity and as society to even begin to work through issues instead of you're just this, you're that, you're that. Okay, but then what's the solution? Mm-hmm. What's the fucking solution? Where's the empathy and all that? So
real fast, I'm gonna say this. And I like the shirt that y'all probably see me got on. I like wearing this shirt. Okay, so let's I'm trying to put this in because I know you're trying to wrap it up. I'm gonna try to put this in perspective, okay? And it is something that you can go out on and think about. All right. So back in Atlanta, there was an officer. Her name was Gail Thomas. Okay, Gail Thomas. Y'all can research this. Gail Thomas. All right, no relation because my last name is Thomas. No relation. All right. She was responding and helping another officer on the expressway. It was an accident on the expressway late at night. Okay. As she was getting out of her car, her patrol car, had her lights and everything on. She was putting her reflective jacket on. She got mowed down by a DUI driver. Killed on the spot. I don't know if y'all can see that or not.
In loving memory of Gail Thomas.
Right? Okay. Mowed down on the spot. Lost her life. Just that fast. DUI. What was Rashard Brooks? DUI. The bottom line is he was breaking the law. The job is to get DUI drivers off of the streets before they kill your family and Mike's family. SPO Thomas. So, again, the officers were doing their job. If this dude would have just kept running, he would have been great. He'd be still here now. probably be in jail. Maybe he'd be out now. And guess what he would have? If he didn't fight and all that other stuff, and he just took off running, he just have a DUI. He just go find him a good lawyer, he would have got off. Possibly. Right? But he was on probation. That's the last thing he wanted. Now on probation. So guess what? I'm finna try to flee and get away. So I'm gonna assault these 2 police officers and run. It's a DUI. He's drunk. But you just got another DUI that just killed an innocent officer. It's crazy. Like, this is DUI. What sets them apart? Now I don't remember what happened to this, but if you go look at it, you're gonna find out. She was a white girl. Now, I don't know what happened, right? I don't know. I don't remember the outcome of it. Maybe she had to serve some jail time or something like that. I'm really not sure. Crying on the stand and all this other stuff. Literally killed her on the spot, just like that.
Oh, I'm reading it right now. It actually was a male. He was convicted and sentenced to 16 years in prison.
Are you looking at the right one? Because it should have been a girl.
Gail Denise Thomas?
Yeah, it should have been a girl that hit her. It was a white girl.
Yeah, I'm the way it's reading on Officer Down Memorial page. That's where I'm odmp.org.
Right.
It says she had just exited her vehicle when she was struck. The drunk driver was arrested and charged with vehicular homicide, DUI, and reckless driving. He was convicted and sentenced to 16 years in prison.
Yeah, it should have been a girl. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
But you know what? I can attest to the whole DUI thing because I actually got a DUI about 10 years ago. And when I got pulled over, when I got arrested at the time, I was right at 0.08. So basically that's 1 drink, which, you know, in terms of the law, I am driving under the influence. But for me, I was like, not really. And in my opinion, for anybody who's like 0.08 or less, I think they're fine to drive. But law-wise, I understand because you need the boundaries, you need the rules, right? But before that, I would drive shit-faced all the time. There was times where I pass out behind the wheel and the light is red, and then I wake up after the stoplight, like still driving. I'm like, oh fuck, oh my god, and then I black out. I could have hurt people.
Right.
I could have done some massive damage. So when I initially got arrested, I was angry. I said, fuck the police, fuck them, because they also said I was speeding, which I wasn't speeding, so that made me more angry. But then later on, after I went through all that shit, I'm actually thankful that happened because, and at that time too, I was starting to slow down and I wasn't drinking as much or getting that level of shit face. But because I wasn't punished, it was still an option for me later in the future. It could have been 2 years later where I get fucking smashed and I'm like, I'm good to drive. I thought I was invincible. I said it. Look, I told my friends, hey, I'm Asian. Like, they think Asians are just like little pussies. Like, that would never get pulled over. Like, I could drive for you guys. You guys are all shit-faced. I'm okay. I'm shit-faced too, but I'll drive. I did that. I did it all the time. So I'm actually, because that happened, that no longer became an option for me to drive like that, which also led me to eventually get to the point where I was, I quit drinking for the most part. Like, I don't really drink, like, ever.
Right.
So yeah, that in a sense that kind of saved my life.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I did want to bring. So go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, Steven. Her name is Chastity Jones.
Okay, so maybe maybe they have it wrong here or something.
Yeah,
So
it's possible they got it wrong.
Yeah, this is the picture of her right here.
Oh yeah, she's drunk for sure.
Chastity Jones. Yeah. So.
Really quick though, I did want to ask really quick because I did see this on the DUI one and as it related to Richard, right? And it's just it's because somebody I do know and he did I believe he posted some. So some questions is when they pulled him over, why didn't they say, okay, rest up, we'll take your keys, go ahead and sleep, like pull his car over to the side, throw the keys underneath the car and let him like sleep it off.
Right. Okay. So here's the situation with that. And we never talked about this, but I'll just talk about it briefly. Officers, of course, have discretion. Right. When it comes down to an arrest, you have discretion. If you're driving with no insurance, that's immediate jail. You're going to jail, right? And you're gonna get your car towed. Or, right, I can say, hey, I'm gonna tow your car, and you just have somebody come pick you up, right? Or, hey, I'm gonna take your keys and throw them somewhere you can't find them to make sure you don't drive. It's a lot of discretion. Okay, you're right. I did hear people say, well, they could have called them an Uber. Who gonna pay for it? The city ain't gonna pay for it, right? Okay, that's the first thing. Or you could have called them Uber. Second thing is, they could have gave them a courtesy ride. Why? Like you're drunk. Like this is a DUI. And look, it's sad to say it, but what if that officer had his mom or something T-boned by a DUI driver? Like what you were saying, Mike, like something personal has happened to this officer before about DUIs, and he cannot stand DUIs. Like he just cannot stand them, right? So guess what? No, you're going to jail. You're going to jail. Like you're drunk and you're driving. You're endangering my family, my kids, or whatever, my girlfriend, whatever the case may be. So you're going to jail. I heard somebody say, well, his sister lived not too far away. Why didn't they let him just walk to his sister's house or whatever and do what with the keys? So we're going to, hey, listen, I'm going to give you your keys because we can't take the keys, right? What I'm going to do with them? Put them in the property? I can't take the keys. I'm going to give you these keys, but you need to walk to your sister's house. Don't drive this car. And if I see this car, I'm going to arrest you. You do that. 10 minutes later, it's a pileup on the expressway because he done ran and killed somebody. Now you got to live with that, right? Because your cousin was in that accident or something. So there is a lot of discretion as a police officer, whether I'm gonna arrest you, whether I'm not gonna arrest you. So in this situation, once again, keep that in mind. He was breaking the law. So the officer opted to arrest someone that's breaking the law. It's just like if you break into somebody's car, think about it, and I catch you, what am I gonna tell you? You better not break into nobody else's car again, right? No, you're breaking the law, you're going to jail. So yes, there is discretion. If I get called to Walmart because this kid just stole some candy, right? Here's your discretion. Could you lock him up, send him to juvenile court? Yes, you can, right? Or can you just scare the shit out of him? You see what I'm saying? Turn around, put your handcuffs, right? In your mind, you're not going to take him to jail, right? Because that's your little son. You know what I'm saying? But because I feel like if I get through to this guy or this, if I feel
alter his behavior.
Yep. Right, I'm going to change, like Mike just said. You know, he got arrested, but it changed your behavior. So I feel like if I get through to this little kid about stealing his candy bar, right, he's not going to do it again. That's me becoming a police officer. Dun, 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 because I want to change the world. That's me changing the community, right? I'm trying to change your mindset before it gets to something crazy. But this guy is grown. He made the decision. And if you watch the full video, I want to say the full video is like 45 minutes long. The full video, it's out there. It's on YouTube. I see it on YouTube. It's out there. The full video, this dude had no idea where he even was. Like he had no idea. Now, if he had a couple of beers and blah, 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 oh yeah, where are you from? I'm from here. Where are you at now? Oh, I'm at such and such. What time is it? You look at his watch. Oh, it's such and he's coherent, right? This dude didn't even know where he was. And you're going to give him the option to call a Lyft, call an Uber, go walk to his sister's house, have somebody to come pick him up. No, you're going to jail.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, there has to be, for society to work well and run as smooth as possible, there has to be rules, laws, regulations, and punishment for adults, anybody, for us to fucking grow. And,
officers, civilians,
officers,
everybody.
yeah, officers as well. Everybody.
Yeah, what I don't want people to mistake this conversation is excusing bad behavior, right?
No,
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. As being
It's
here,
just
no, I'm not excusing bad behavior. If they done it, they need to face the piper. If they done it, you see what I'm saying? Like if you are wrong, you are wrong, and that's what I was saying about the punishment.
Yeah.
At that point, you should be held higher than law. You know.
And by punishment, when I was saying punishment, I'm not talking about like murder or anything. I'm talking punishment in terms of like a ticket or getting whatever arrested, but not. I'm not talking specifically about murder or any of that. Just to clear that up for all of our ends.
Yep.
But we're gonna wrap it
Don't
up.
go vigilante on anybody.
Yeah, but before we wrap up, I do want to ask you, what is if there's one piece of advice or just anything insight that you could leave our audience with, just anything, could be about anything. What would it be?
Short and sweet. And because I tell people this all the time, forget the media, forget what you see in the media. Police officers are bad. They trying to shoot me. They trying to kill me. Forget all of that. If you get pulled over by police or you're interacting with a police officer, remember this. Well, it's two things. If you request for a supervisor has to show up. And I'm pretty sure that's every department across the map, right? If you request, you just got pulled over, right? You're sitting there just like this. You can ask, hey, what I got pulled over, right? If you feel like this ain't gonna go the way you think it's gonna go, hey, can you get a supervisor out here? A supervisor has to show up. Now, supervisor shows up and he's a racist piece of shit, and you out of luck. You're right. Then you out of luck, right? But you at least you get to talk to a sergeant, right, or above. Talk to a sergeant. Tell him the situation. Hey, this is da-da-da. I tried to talk to your officer back there, and, you know, he seemed like he's on a little edge. Because watch this. Maybe that sergeant knows something about that officer that you don't know. Maybe that officer already has an internal affairs complaint somewhere. Maybe that officer is going through a divorce. But for you just to say, hey, I don't know, he seemed like he on a little edge that I ain't really feel comfortable talking. Guess what that supervisor is going to say to himself? He's going to say, damn, he ain't lying. Because I already know this ain't the first complaint I done got from him. I know what he's going through with his wife, because he called out of work yesterday and said, hey, I ain't going to be able to come in today. I'm dealing with some personal stuff. I ain't going to be able to come in. Right? So that's how you do that. Okay. That's the first thing. Second thing is, if you don't want to go through the whole supervisor and all the other stuff, just comply to whatever they're saying. Literally, just comply. Because this is why. You will, and Mike, I think you touched on this. You will. That's one thing I love about the law. You will be able to fight it. When you sign a ticket, this is another thing. If they say, hey, sign the ticket, if you tell them, I'm not going to sign, you're going to jail. Listen, now this is across the board. I don't care what state you in. If you don't sign that ticket, you're going to jail, right? Signing the ticket, and you hear this on cops and everything else. Well, signing the ticket doesn't admit guilt and blah, 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 blah. They're absolutely right. You're not saying that you done it. All you're saying is you either gonna pay the fine, show up at court, try to fight it, get you a lawyer. That's all you're signing. That is it. You are not signing, I'm guilty. If you don't sign it, you going straight to jail. Like, I'm telling you, that's another piece of advice. Sign the ticket, go and get your ticket, right? On your way to the house, hands-free law. Forget it. If you're a safe driver, get on your phone, start looking you a lawyer up right then. Whether it's running through a stop sign, you didn't do this, just start looking for you a lawyer. Find you a lawyer, or if you feel like you got the gift of gab and you can go talk, in the court, you have that poise to you. You can talk in the court. Just go do it yourself. Fight it out. Because watch this. Here's another thing. The officer has to show up. And if he don't, guess what's going to happen? They're going to throw the shit out anyway. You see what I'm saying? So, and a lot of times, they'll write the ticket, right? Because they not thinking, you knowing your rights, they not thinking that you're going to try to fight it. If you ran through a stop sign, you're going to be calling down to the courthouse the next week. You be like, I need to find out how much this ticket is, so I go ahead and pay it, right? You're just going to pay it and be done with it. They not thinking that you're going to fight it. So now, when they get a subpoena in the mail at the precinct that you got to come to court, they're going to be like, come to court? For what? Look, a lot of times, they don't even show up, right? This is traffic. A lot of times, they don't even show up. So guess what's going on? You're going to be sitting in court, you got your bow tie on, you sitting there just like this, right? You looking around, and guess who don't show up? The officer. So when they call your name, you like, I'm here. They're going to say, is the officer wrote the ticket here? Oh, he ain't here. Okay. So look, okay, we're going to go ahead and dismiss this one. You didn't have to say anything. Right. You didn't even have to talk. A lot of times it just inconvenience you to show up at court. So, and that's the thing. It will inconvenience you because if you're working every day, you probably have to take off from work, right? At least you're going to have to take off maybe twice. The first time you go to court, you're going to tell them not guilty, right? Not guilty. Do you want a trial? Yes, I want a trial. They're going to set you a trial date. But people hear trial and they be like, oh my God, it's going to be a jury. And oh my God, they're going to put me under the jail. No, a lot of times the trial is literally you, the officer, and the judge. The judge is the jury, right? He is the jury. So you say, yeah, I want a trial. Now they're going to, here it is. Watch what's going to happen now. Now they're going to postpone it. They're going to put it even further. So now if you get a ticket today, you might not be going to court on it for the next 4 months. You see what I'm saying? Like people knowing their rights. So even if you don't have the money, everybody be, man, I ain't got the money. I just laid off from my job, da da da. Guess what you do? Just show up on that first day and fight it. Because now they're not going to say, well, you're going to come back to court for the trial next week. So now you got months to come up with $100, $200. If you know that you're guilty and you just want to go ahead and pay it off, that's a way for you to buy you some time. So if they say, hey, yep, I'm nope, not guilty. But then when you get in there, you be like, man, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and pay it. I don't even feel like dealing with this because you done saved your money, right? Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Police pull you off, be courteous. Remember, power of the pen. Everybody's focused on this gun. Forget the gun. The power of the pen. And remember, POP, pissing off police. You don't want to do that. You don't. Because it's the power of the pen. If you piss me off, all right, cool. Because guess what? I'm finna clock out. I'm finna go home. You got to pay that $700 ticket. That ain't got shit to do with me.
There you go. You heard it from the man himself. That's a really great tip about the ticket. I appreciate that. So, guys, hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you listened all the way through, appreciate you. Appreciate you, Jabaric. Steven, thank you. This has been a good time.
Anytime.
Yeah, we might have to do a part two much like later in the future to talk about some other things, just right, kind of like what we talked about earlier. But anyways, guys, you know what to do now. So thank you for listening. This has been another episode of the Set Breaker Podcast, and I will see you on the next episode.
Y'all take it easy.